Beat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person.
All right.
Made Medicare shopping so...
Amy, let me know when you're sticker.
Hey guys, what's going on? Brad, Ryan, and it's Monday, and it's pre-show, and it's actually a pretty big show today. Super excited about it.
Getting bigger by the minute.
Yeah, literally. We got Darren Bailey to kick off the show at the top of the hour. So on stage, don't go anywhere if you're ready for that. And then at 1:25, we're gonna have Jamie Lissow. You may know him from Gutfeld, or you may have saw him at the.
We're pretty sure.
And all that other stuff. Very funny guy, comedian. Very excited about that.
Did you get a confirmation from him today?
I have not yet.
See, he lives in Alaska, so his time schedule, he might wake up to do the interview with us.
Yeah. So hopefully he's able to be there. We also got to have Steve Moore. He's going to be at 1:45 today, and he's going to talk to us about the economic situation in the United States, which is not great.
He said he wanted to be a little bit further away from Women's America.
Yeah.
Today, personally requested.
It was personal.
Well, the problem is that Women's America is so all-encompassing.
Are you trying to say Wiggins America is like Donald Trump and it sucks up all the oxygen in the room?
It does suck up all the oxygen in the room.
Right after that, it's like Metallica plays, and then
and who would Steve Moore be?
Oh, I don't know. But
a classic.
For him, it would feel like, well, Metallica just went on and I'm an opening act. Now I have to play. If I had to compare,
you just called Steve Moore an opening act?
No, that's where he would feel.
Yes, that's exactly what he did when he compared him to Wiggins America, which is,
for me, it would be like Aerosmith. Like timeless.
Where is the line between arrogance and confidence? Because I think Ryan is back there.
Also, where is the live that Annie was going to do?
There's production of the show happening.
I didn't know
I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but we don't run things by you beforehand.
I was going to have to stop talking at some point, so it was going to affect me.
After his statements about being making Steve Moore the opening act, I don't know. I feel like he does think that.
One thing you should not do is mention that to Steve Moore.
Please.
You need to fix the lights for me so that I can put myself up on the screen. And what do I do at CA Jones? Yes, I am ready. Let's get to the real show. Thanks, guys.
So I want to talk to you about CA Jones online at cajonesinc.com. And I want you to understand why they have built so many homes on the Illinois side of the river for people who are looking to reestablish roots, to put down roots, or to expand, potentially even to maybe contract a little bit. I have met a lot of people who have purchased CA Jones homes, had them build them that dream home that was after the kids move out of the house, the empty nest home. You've got a smaller house, a smaller footprint, but everything is where you want it and how you want it and looks the way you want it. cajonesinc.com is the website to go look at a ton of different buildable plans. They have a really awesome tool on their website at CA Jones Inc. that allows you to maneuver yourself through the whole planning process and pick the shingle colors and pick the shutter colors and the brick and so on and so forth. Add a fireplace. I always recommend adding a fireplace. If you're looking to build in Illinois, make sure you go to CA Jones to build your home. cajonesinc.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
You know, there are touch points. We begin
with the closing of the polls in Indiana and Kentucky at 6 p.m. Now, there are no seriously contested races in these parts of the states that close. Only part of Kentucky and Indiana close. But I'm going to be looking at those congressional districts to compare the results from 2020 to 2022 results to find out how much of a swing there is against the Democrats, which we're likely to see in these races, because this swing is going to be very important throughout the entire night. If there's a 2 or 3 point swing against the Democrat performance in 2022, there'll be a certain number of losses. If it's a 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 point swing, there are going to be a lot more. So I'm going to be looking at that. Followed at 7 o'clock by Georgia. And Virginia. Georgia, big Senate race, big governor's race. They're tied together. If Brian Kemp, the governor, wins re-election by a serious margin, then we're likely to see Herschel Walker doing better. And in Virginia, it's going to give us an indication what's going to happen in the House. There are 3 highly competitive races there. If the Republicans win 1, it's going to be a good night. They win 2, it's going to be a great night. If they win all 3, watch out. It is going to be a slam dunk.
So Karl Rove giving you a little precursor as to what the early indicators might be on election night. Folks, tomorrow is election day. Tomorrow is election night, and we have all of your coverage that you need right here at 97.1 FM Talk on the radio and on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. We will be broadcasting from home, and there are key races that, of course, we personally are watching. And if you've listened to this show with any sort of regularity whatsoever, you know that the Illinois governor race is one of those key races that I am watching very closely. It's near and dear to my heart. It affects my life greatly. And those results coming in early and indicating it's going to be a great night for Republicans, that's going to be necessary to see the victories for the Republican Party, the red wave in the state of Illinois. Let's ask Darren Bailey himself, the candidate for governor for the Republican Party in the state of Illinois, what he expects to see tomorrow evening. Darren Bailey, once again, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show.
Hey, good evening, Annie Frey. So, yeah, thank you so much for just keeping people informed and educated. I think tomorrow night's going to be an amazing night for Illinois. It's just last night at 6 o'clock, we had a rally at Daily Plaza, just right downtown Chicago. Our bus was there, parked right off the street. I mean, there is energy, there is excitement. People were there and waving flags, waving merchandise I've never even seen before with my name on it. I mean, it's awesome. The movement's real. This morning, we stopped into Chinatown and had a tour of Chinatown. They're fed up as well. And then we just left a press conference at Oak Brook with Tom DeVore, with a room full of parents and moms and children who just simply aren't having it. This is a referendum on Governor Pritzker's last 4 years of destruction on our state, and I think people have had enough. So I think it's time to. I think people are realizing that they need to usher in something different, and I think that I'm offering the people the hope that they're looking for.
I stand by that statement wholeheartedly. Darren Bailey on with us right now, the Republican candidate for governor in the state of Illinois. He's on your ballot tomorrow, folks in Illinois, or today. If you can't get out to vote tomorrow, get out today on your lunch break. It's noon, and cast your ballot there. You can go vote early right now. I want to ask you a few questions for people who are hearing a lot of noise about specific issues facing Illinois residents that really do boil out of the state of Illinois into those big Democrat blue states or big blue federal government that people have been living under here in the first 2 years of President Biden's terms. The first question I have for you, candidate Darren Bailey, as governor, will you consider mandating COVID vaccines for Illinois school children?
So that is that answer is a resounding absolutely. Actually, what the press conference.
Hey, Darren, let me interrupt you just because you said that is a resounding absolutely, and then you cut out, and I don't want people to miss what you said there. Will you consider mandating COVID vaccines for Illinois school children?
Never, ever. No, that's up to the parent to decide what they want to do. And that's interesting. That was the press conference we just left. A few days ago, J.B. Pritzker said that it was up to the General Assembly to decide such issues. Well, number one, he lied, and then number two, with that same day, we found emails from the Illinois Department of Public Health that are suggesting promoting these mandates. So it is indeed the governor through the Illinois Department of Public Health that has the ability to mandate these in our schools, and that is definitely what J.B. Pritzker is working on. So I want to remind people, I stood up and sued J.B. Pritzker in July of 2020 and won that lawsuit over these shutdowns and these mandates. And no, I stand against all of that nonsense.
Darren Bailey speaking with us right now. A resounding no, will not mandate those vaccines for kids. Darren, I'll tell you this myself. People ask me all the time, what will it take to remove myself and my family from Illinois as somebody myself who has been a fighter for it? You tell me that I have to, in order to stay in that state and to send my kids to school in Illinois, that I have to give them that vaccine. I'm out. I mean, that's kind of been my breaking point. Another question for you, candidate Darren Bailey, Republican candidate to challenge J.B. Pritzker in the state of Illinois for the governor position. Do you support the Safety Act, also known as the Purge Law in the state of Illinois, that eliminates cash bail and has caused a whole other of concerns about crime in the state of Illinois? Do you support it?
No, I will repeal that bill. There is no room for modifications, amendments. That bill must be repealed in its entirety. And people need to know one thing, that J.B. Pritzker has had 2 years since this bill was signed into law, and it will go into effect January 1st, 2023. And he himself, nor the authors of this bill, really understand or know what's in this. And that's been proven by by all this nonsense we're hearing about and seeing here recently. So 100 of the 102 states' attorneys are, stand in opposition of this, half of which have filed suit against him, and a third in each category who are Democrats. And that's another reason why I have the entire police endorsement on my side, the first time in Illinois history that all of the police have gotten behind a governor candidate in a general election. Now, that the Safety Act must be repealed.
The Safety Act is a huge part of what people are paying attention to nationwide when it comes to the state of Illinois. We're speaking with Darren Bailey right now. Even before the Safety Act was a vocabulary word, the bold word in your textbook for this election, if you're a voter, there are a lot of people who do question who supports the police. Do we support the police? In the state of Illinois, are they valued here? What's your reaction to how a police officer or a police officer's family currently feels right now in the state of Illinois, and what you would do to change it should you become the governor?
Well, J.B. Pritzker and the Democrat Party have proven by their actions and by the laws that they have passed that no, they have no use for the police. They have, and people ask why. Why is this? These headlines that we read in Chicago every single day, over 31 months without a shooting in Chicago, and every weekend we wake up to 30, 40, 50 shootings, 5, 10, 15 deaths. I mean, this is absolute nonsense, and I believe that's how you destroy a constitutional republic. You take law and order away. That's what history shows us. So, no, the police are ready for something different. That's why we see vacancies. When you don't have when government doesn't show appreciation for a position and overburdens you, such as our law enforcement heroes, and even our teachers in our classrooms, that's why we have shortages. People just don't walk away. They find something else to do. They leave the state, and those days are over, and we're going to restore integrity to both of those positions. Chicago Public Police Department alone has over 1,700 vacancies, in their police force because of this very reason.
Darren Bailey joining us right now. He is on your ballot. You can go vote in Illinois right now. You can early vote, and you got to be sure to vote by tomorrow. Tomorrow is Election Day, and Darren Bailey is looking to fire J.B. Pritzker and looking to see how quickly and rapidly we could change Illinois with some common sense at the helm. Another question I get asked a lot, I've covered this on my show, but it's confusing, and when people go to look at their ballot, they're going to be looking at J.B. Pritzker versus Darren Bailey, of course, but they're also going to see an amendment on there. It's Amendment 1. They've deemed it the workers' rights amendment. I want to know, Darren Bailey, do you support workers' rights? And does this amendment support those taxpayers who are also workers, their rights in the state of Illinois?
So the answer is yes, I support workers' rights, but this amendment has absolutely nothing to do with workers' rights. If you're not satisfied with your expensive property bill and you want your property taxes to increase drastically, then by all means support this amendment. You must vote no on this amendment. It has nothing to do with bargaining for wages and benefits. It has everything to do with bargaining for special interests, of which are simply going to cost government more. Teachers will be able to bargain, teacher unions will be able to bargain for CRT and this sex curriculum once it's taken out of the classrooms. And, you could potentially bargain for the kind of car you want to drive. Everything that's being bargained for is going to cost the government more, and it's going to raise your property taxes. There is absolutely no room for this. This has nothing to do with workers' rights. It has nothing to do with wages and benefits. It is a special interest takeover at its core.
Darren Bailey is joining us right now. He is the Republican candidate for governor in the state of Illinois. He is the alternative to anybody who is sick and tired of J.B. Pritzker's bologna sausage is the phrase we like to use in my house in front of my young children because everybody knows what it means. And you're on the ballot tomorrow. You have talked about education before you were running for governor. You have talked about the importance of, obviously, education in our children's lives individually. Darren, you and I have a lot of the same values, but at the same time, what I want for my kids might be different than what you want for your kids. But in J.B. Pritzker's Illinois, it's what he wants for the collective kids because he believes he possesses all of us and our liberties. What's the difference between 4 more years of J.B. Pritzker and what would the difference be with 4 years of Darren Bailey when it comes to what parents have access to control, to know, to decide for their kids when they go into the classroom?
With 4 more years of J.B. Pritzker, there will be no Illinois left. People will leave. Business will refuse to come. Our children's education will be decimated. I mean, this is what's on the ballot. It's just the destruction that he's offered. A Darren Bailey, Illinois, is a place where people will stay, where Illinois will become a destination state. Manufacturing and industry will want to come. People will start moving back. Our children will be proud to live here. Their education will be what education should be, and they'll want to stay and raise a family. And that's where all this started from. Cindy and I are married for 36 years. We have 4 children and 12 grandchildren, and that's why this started, because we realized that I want my children to stay close to home, and that's what I'm hearing. That's a desire that I hear. It breaks my heart when I talk to families, and they just shake their head, and sometimes their kids had to leave the state because of the opportunities that exist somewhere else that doesn't exist here. So that's the Illinois that we all deserve. That's the Illinois that should be. We have an amazing state, just with Chicago to Shawnee National Forest, to the amazing resources the state offers, the transportation hubs, the shipping hubs, the air hubs, the rail hubs, the trucking hubs. We've got it. We are the heartbeat, the heartland of America, and it is time to restore all the possibility and opportunities that J.B. Pritzker has taken away for 4 years.
Well, Illinoisans have the opportunity to vote for change. I would say something back to what Donald Trump said, and this isn't like a Trump connection specifically to the Bailey campaign, but he asked voters who had voted one way for so long, what do you have to lose? To try something else. Is it going well for you right now? Are you happy with where you live? Have you looked at real estate across rivers or across highways that put you in somebody else's jurisdiction so that you can live a little freer? If you're not certain what you want to do yet, I want you to understand that we know what we get with J.B. Pritzker. We've got that. And I don't know how, like you said, Darren Bailey, I don't know how we withstand 4 more years of that in the state of Illinois. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about this. This weekend, J.B. Pritzker had Kamala Harris in Chicago campaigning with him. Why in the world would J.B. Pritzker in the blue state of Illinois, that seems like people don't even really want to spend a lot of time or money doing polls in the state of Illinois, why is Kamala Harris spending her time in Chicago?
Well, Joe Biden was there too, and they were there for one reason and one reason only, because their party and their governor is in trouble, and he knows it. So they brought him in for a last-ditch effort a few weeks ago President Obama was in, and they know they're in trouble, and they know we're winning. So that's what you do when you're losing. And fortunately, I have all the confidence in the world that it is going to be of no avail, and that tomorrow is going to be an amazing evening for the future of Illinois.
And just to that point, if the Democrats are feeling like they're a little bit down and Republicans are feeling a little bit more energized, what do you say to your supporters, the people listening right now who have already been working hard for you? They've been part of the grassroots, and they moved this entire movement down the line so that you could be in a position to restore Illinois tomorrow. What else can they do with these last 24 hours that they have to make sure that we get well past the finish line?
Yes, make sure everyone we know is registered to vote and shows up to vote. And you can even register up to the point of voting now. So just we've got to be talking about this. So encourage people to vote. Take them to the polls if you have to. Help educate and inform them if they're not, and they can get registered at the last minute. And yes, this grassroots movement we have is just unlike anything I think that's existed in the nation for a long, long time, and that's what's going to push Illinois over the edge. So go to BaileyForIllinois.com. We're up here working in the Chicagoland area today. We're going to have a big rally in the south side of Chicago tonight. We're having our Watch Victory Party in Springfield at Crown Plaza tomorrow. You can go online and get your free tickets and show up and support us. And we're actually still, we still got the movement going on. We're pushing out texts to get out the vote. And if anybody wants to continue the last minute to join us financially, every penny up until midday tomorrow is going to go to pushing out digital media and texting, and we still need help. So go to BaileyForIllinois.com and come to one of our events. You can continue to join us and support us. And the work begins on Wednesday when we start putting together the team and the people that's going to get this state back on track.
Darren Bailey, I'm praying for you and I'm praying for our state, and I want to thank you for coming on with us today.
Well, God bless you, and thank you so much, Annie.
All right, bye-bye. Darren Bailey, Illinois candidate, Republican for governor. You want to fire J.B. Pritzker? He's your guy. It's just that simple. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Frey Show in a minute.
I struggle to find any truth in your life.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
And now my heart stumbles on things I don't know.
Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Did you know the Missouri State Treasurer's Office holds over $1 billion of unclaimed property? That's billion with a B. Things like utility deposits or uncashed checks and other money you didn't know was missing. This is Missouri State Treasurer Scott Fitzpatrick. My office wants to return this money to rightful owners, and the average claim is $300. Search your name online 24/7 at showmemoney.com. Claiming your money is always free, so search today at showmemoney.com.
So I want to talk to you about Michael's Flooring Outlet. I'm distracted by an ad that's on the TV right now. I'll talk to you about that when we come back from the break. But I got to talk to you about Michael's Flooring Outlet right now, because when you're purchasing flooring in your house, you want to have the very best product to invest in. It's expensive to buy flooring just in general. It's not like you're going to, we need to replace the, blinds in this room. You go replace flooring in your house, it's going to be an investment. But when you get it down in your new house, it's like you get a new house. It's kind of like the new car smell type of thing going on, especially with carpet. I love the smell of fresh carpet, especially that Mohawk Silk Smart Strand brand. It's top notch, and you get the top value at Michael's Flooring Outlet. This is why people from 97.1, from the Annie Frey Show, have been going to Michael's Flooring Outlet for years. You want to make sure that you understand the product that you're buying, the quality of what you're getting, the upsells that people might have for you. Is it worthy of your investment? Well, you go to people who you can trust, and then you can make those decisions for yourself. That's what they do at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They empower you to make educated decisions about your flooring that you are going to go home and be proud of to tell other people when they come to your house. Yep, got it at Michael's. If you are interested in their locations, their products, or how to get a free estimate, go to igotfloored.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
When you vote tomorrow, be sure to finish your ballot and vote for your judges. Missouri's judicial system gives voters the final say in retaining their judges. So know your judges before you vote. Visit yourmissouriJudges.org and learn about the nonpartisan judges up for retention this year. That's yourmissouriJudges.org. It's up to you to help make sure we have skilled, fair, and impartial judges. Know your judges and finish the ballot proudly. Visit yourmissouriJudges.org.
Paid for by the Missouri Bar, Mesha Epps, Executive Director.
We've got you covered on Election Day. Mark Reardon will be providing live coverage throughout the evening with special guests and analysis from the entire 97.1 team. Decision 2022 is sponsored by TR Hughes Homes and Air Comfort Service. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
If Darren Bailey wins the election, Ryan and I will reenact this music video.
Oh, wow.
Elle King and Miranda Lambert.
I am not familiar with this one at all.
It sounds called I'm Drunk and I Don't Want to Go Home. It's going to be like 3/4 of a White Claw for Ryan. And like 1 whiskey slush for me, the lightweights. It's going to be 7 p.m. and we're going to be like, I don't want to go home. I will be at home. But, yeah.
We're going to have to be the adults in the room if that happens.
She's 21 now. I don't have to ask permission from the boss to have her at the show party anymore.
I'm going to have to be the adult in the room then.
Aren't you always? I mean, I usually.
No, I'm a youth pastor. I'm not supposed to be the adult in the room.
No, that's exactly what you are.
No.
Literally.
I'm the one that everybody tolerates. Is like, he's mature enough to be in leadership, but not the maturest leader.
But you're the one they put in a room with children.
Well, this is true.
To be the adult in the room.
Right?
Literally. Oh, man.
No. It's my crew.
So when I was about to talk to you about Michael's Flooring Outlet just in that last commercial break, I just turned to my right and I looked up at the screen. I think, is that channel 4? Is that cable?
It's 5.
It's channel 5 right now. We have a lot of TVs on in here and a lot of things going on. And Barack Obama was sitting up there talking on the screen. And we have closed caption on these screens just in case anything comes up that we want to see and that we need to read, because obviously we can't have sound playing in the studio from television. Barack Obama's doing a television ad for J.B. Pritzker. Had you seen that?
I had not.
What?
That's kind of a big deal, right?
JB Pritzker needs to bring in the closer?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes! People go vote. I mean, seriously, I don't care. I was talking to Darren Bailey 10 minutes ago, and I encourage you to listen to that interview. We are going to break up. Did you talk to Anna about that before I
Yes.
Did she tell you? Okay.
She said, yes, I can do that.
She didn't tell you no?
No.
Before I say this out
That'd
loud
be
there.
awkward.
Sorry, Anna. Anyway, we're going to break up the question and answer that I asked him a question about mandating vaccines for kids in schools. I asked him a question about the Safety Act. I asked him a question about Amendment 1. I asked him a question about parental rights. And I think there was a couple other ones. So we'll break them out, my question and his answer, so that we can put them out there so people can have the information. These straight questions from me to him. He provides the answer and you have it. And then you can go vote. Do you know what you get with JB Pritzker? Should he win election tomorrow? Of course you do. Power drunk, never satisfied, never satiated, always hungry for more of your freedoms to stick in his back pocket so that he can have more power. He doesn't need money. He just needs power. Imagine having a Scrooge McDuck pile of money that you could dive in and swim through at any given time, and you could spend. He put $50 million in his own campaign for governor reelection before he announced he was running again. What? If I lose 50 cents, I'm like on the floor crawling around looking for where I put those 2 quarters. This is a serious opportunity for Illinois, but it's so much broader than Illinois. In Missouri, you have the opportunity to send Eric Schmidt to the United States Senate. Instead of Trudy Bush Valentine, that race isn't going to be close. But you have to think about not just, it's not, the destination isn't election day. The destination is when they get in there and they start getting things done. In Missouri, you have the opportunity to fire Sam Page and hire Mantovani. That is going to be a drastic change for that county executive seat. A huge change. It's a really big deal. We get so wrapped up in the scoreboard part of it. Who wins, who loses? Well, what happens after you win? The part that happens after you win is actually the part that matters. And if you rewind the tape 4 years ago to J.B. Pritzker, the last time Sam Page won, or the last time when Claire McCaskill was your senator here in the state of Missouri, folks, you know what happens after the scoreboard says the other team wins. It sucks. We've lived that experience here. You know what it's like to be in St. Louis County. You know what it's like to be in St. Louis City. You know what it's like to want to come to St. Louis City. My dream when I was young and dumb and trying to, kind of spread my wings and fly a little bit, getting out of communication school at SIUE. I got my TV radio degree from there. I loved that school. I loved my time there. Was going to have to work in St. Louis media because, folks, that's where the radio stations are. That's where the TV stations are. I know this is shocking, but Illinois people listen to St. Louis, Missouri media. They do.
I am
really,
shocked.
We do not have our own system in the Metro East. If it's St. Louis, it's us. So I knew that I was going to have to work in St. Louis media. And I thought to myself, you know what? I really want to live downtown. I want to live in a condo downtown St. Louis and put my roots down and be a city girl because I grew up as a country girl and then a suburban girl. And I wanted to try doing the city living thing because I knew there was probably a portion of my life, a small window of my life where I would be able to pull that off. And man, it did not take long for me. And this was in the mid 2000s when I was looking to do this. It did not take long for me 15 years ago to say, I'm not doing that. I have friends, family. I have a family member who has a very close friend who was shot on Washington Avenue.
Mm.
It's unbelievable.
Mm.
And I lived. But I mean, the instance of how quickly violence becomes a very personal, real story to anybody who even descends upon this city to enjoy everything the city has to offer. It has descended into chaos year after year after year. And the people who are winning elections in St. Louis right now are campaigning on being soft on crime. What is that? In the state of Illinois, we have a crime problem. It bleeds out literally of the city of Chicago and of Cook County, and it bleeds out into the areas around it. In St. Louis, we have a crime problem, and it bleeds out into the areas around the city. And we have a soft on crime message. We have an anti-police message. What the hell are we doing? It's like it's ironic because the more woke we got, the more asleep we became. And right now, it's gotten bad enough that the gunshots are waking us up. The stock market bells and alarms are waking us up. And we're looking around and we're going, what happened? How did this get so bad? Well, look around. There's an indicator. Each direction you look. And it's overbloated, overreaching government. That is not always just the Democrat Party. There are Republicans who get drunk on power and authority and big government as well, and they need to go. You have a midterm opportunity right now, and it's across the country, folks. We have a midterm opportunity where it doesn't have to be about the guy at the top because, folks, J.B. Pritzker has affected my life a lot more than Donald Trump and Joe Biden has. The people in your county, the people running your county, the Sam Pages of the world, I bet you go talk to people in the county right now. Sam Page is probably the most frustrating figure in their political lives right now. And we can sit there and we can dramatize. We could talk about Trump and Biden and DeSantis and Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris and all these. We can talk about it. It's, I guess, sport and fun to talk about. It's like talking about the Major League Baseball offseason and who's going to go where and why, and they should go here and get this money and blah, 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 blah. It's sport to talk about it. But what's Sam Page doing to you right now in St. Louis County? And he's right here. The amount of people that need to show up to swap out that politician for Mantovani, it's a much smaller group of people. Actually, people you know who may not realize how much the county executive has the ability to affect your life the way he does. And you can go make that difference by talking to 5 families, 10 families, and saying, I need to talk to you about this. It's important to me. Take it for what it is. You don't even have to discuss it, but can I please talk to you about Mark Mantovani? Have that conversation. Be the person who's willing to bring it up without dunking it in somebody's face. Be the person who's willing to broach a conversation because you care about the outcome of a specific election because of how it affects the people in your life, including yourself. Be willing to invest your time and your energy into talking to people who you actually care about in a way that extends past your desire to be known for being the winning political party. If we actually work to get back to caring more about people and the relationships that we have, all of this other stuff falls into place. The people who are in power right now want you to think about them every waking minute. They want every decision that you make in your life to center around something that has to do with them. They want to be put into a position where you are going to always consider a political campaign, political official, elected official, something that has to do with them, because that's how they retain your allegiance. Flip the script. Make them work for you, because they do. And if it gets inverted, where you're always working for them, you're going to lose, even if your candidate wins. The cult of personality that has surrounded politics is an industry-created phenomena that doesn't serve the people who work to make that industry successful and lucrative. It's not an instance where you are going to win an election. Your candidate will win an election. You'll be excited that your guy won. And then you go into 4 more years or 2 years or 6 years or whatever the term ends up being. and you're not involved until the campaign season starts again, that's upside down. They need to be working for you. You put in the time for them to get the vote out today and then hold their feet to the fire when your candidate gets elected. And if your candidate doesn't get elected, you hold their feet to the fire as well. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Ryan Wiggins in the studio with us. We're going to talk about a focus group that was done by, who's Oprah's sidekick? What's her name? Gail. Who cares?
Why did you look at me?
I don't know, because I didn't know.
We
don't know. There's been no moments in my life where I'm like, but what does Gail King think about this? But when we come back, it's going to be interesting because she did a focus group, and it's about abortion, which I do care about, and I want to hear what Ryan Wiggins has to say about it. So stick around. Wiggins America in the studio when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
The pain was so bad, it felt like I was walking on knife blades. It took my life away. And my doctor recommended that I go to Good Feet. I took about 4 steps and started to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain. I'm not an actor. I want people to know, whether you're young or old, these are life-changing. I've tried the rest. The best is Good Feet. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Let's go to the ballpark. We're going to Monster Jams. We're going camping. My attitude's changed. I'm a happier man. I'm like a regular dad now. The kids have seen that change and that confidence in dad, and they like the new dad.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerberg's.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
So the holiday season is upon us. I'm just saying it. Thanksgiving is a holiday, so Veterans Day is a holiday, so celebrate the holiday season. How about with hair salon? They're going to probably have several opportunities to go out, to be around family or friends or coworkers, maybe people that you don't see all the time, and you want to look your best. Gentlemen, Hair Saloon is the place to go. If you need a place to be able to quick look up on their website at hairsaloon.com and make an appointment that is convenient to you, it's fantastic because it's all available to do online, not the haircuts, but the appointment making. And they have so many locations around the bi-state region that there's going to be somewhere conveniently located to you. Once you start going to Hair Saloon, they have the profile on you. Everywhere you go, you're going to get a fantastic haircut each and every time. The atmosphere is catered to you so that when you go there, you're going to think that your hair salon appointment is actually going to be kind of a relaxation hour for you. You're going to be able to go in and be treated like the gentleman that you are and walk out looking absolutely fantastic. For their locations, for the ability to buy a gift card, to be able to book an appointment, go online to their website, go to hairsaloon.com.
Plain talk from our true constitutional conservative voice, Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
We have to stop the crazy liberal agenda of defunding the police. We need more support for law enforcement. Give them the tools to stop violent crime, illegal immigration, and the cartels from flooding our state with their illegal drugs.
Mary Elizabeth Coleman opposes all taxpayer funding for illegal immigrants and will fight to cut state funding to cities that give sanctuary to illegal immigrants.
Biden's open border policy has brought fentanyl to our neighborhoods. Thousands of Missourians are dying as a result. Missouri should join the other states and send our National Guard troops to the border if that's what it takes to keep our families safe.
True constitutional conservative Mary Elizabeth Coleman supports a Parents' Bill of Rights, is pro-jobs, A-rated by the NRA, and the only one in this state Senate race endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. Paid for by friends of Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
There's a big red barn where you say green. Norm's Bargain Barn. On discount windows, doors, and things. Norm's Bargain Barn.
Hi, I'm Norm Wilson. looky, come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Hi, this is Ken.
And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service now offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Today is November 7th, and the midterm elections are tomorrow. Tune in for full coverage on your home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm nervous for tomorrow. I have a little frenetic energy about myself, and I can't wait to see what Wednesday brings. What happens tomorrow, the news, the coverage, the results as they come in. Man, 97.1 FM Talk, the radio station, is going to have like the real coverage. If you tune in to the radio, we're going to start coverage at 6 p.m. Mark Reardon is hosting it. The whole cast and crew of the station is going to be a part of it. I'll be doing phone interviews from my basement, where we are going to be doing a show that you can watch. And we don't do TV, so it's going to be a disaster.
This is going to be straight up 4 hours of commercial-free TV that we're providing.
We're going to sound great and look ridiculous. That is basically what I'm promising. Yeah.
Yes. Did I hear you say also that Obama is running ads for Pritzker right now?
Pritzker is running ads with Obama in it. I don't know that Obama opened his paycheck. Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were in Chicago this weekend. What in the world? That is ridiculous. They should be in Pennsylvania and Arizona and Georgia.
So Biden went to Pennsylvania and Illinois and California. Mm-hmm. So you're like, well, what's he see? What are they seeing on their polling?
And the question that I think, not so much Obama, but for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they're not wanted.
No, they're not.
Their dance card is not full. So in Illinois, they're like, yeah, we'll take you. So, anyway, let's get to Wiggins America.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins! Well, what I've done today is, instead of looking at very, very broad polling, we're looking at very, very specific, down to a focus group, actually, that Gayle King did over the weekend.
We're looking at 4 people that Gayle King talked to.
That's exactly right. That's what a focus group is. And they are, obviously, they can select whoever they want. But I still am enthralled by focus groups. I just love hearing them say, oh, you're the Republican. What do you say about this issue? And seeing who they got. So I pulled, of those 4 people that Gayle King did this focus group with, she asked them many questions. And I do want to say, before we get into this topic, that they all said ahead of time that they're voting on economic issues.
Okay.
So they said that. Then Gayle King drove the conversation to abortion because she's talking to 4 women. So she thought, this is what we need to be talking about, of course.
All I do is walk around wondering about my next abortion.
Exactly. So
that's going to be a campaign hit ad against me sometime.
Yes.
Annie Frey says she walks around thinking about her next abortion, but wants to vote for babies' lives.
We've got her on black and white video walking.
Yeah.
Look, here's an X through her.
And then the guitar music picks up. And the golden hour hits.
Oh, yeah. And then somebody who's very oversaturated with color comes onto the screen. All right. I picked the answer. So I wanted to focus on abortion. That's what they tried to focus on as the top campaign issue. There are 2 Democrats in this group. There is 1 Republican and there is 1 independent. I'm going to play all 4 of these clips and I'm going to ask you to pick Democrat, Republican, or Independent. So let's go with the first one.
So we're supposed to pick the person.
Yes.
Okay.
To be in a woman's body is a very special thing. And to have had two of my own, if I didn't feel confident in raising them and nourishing them in such a prosperous way, I want a choice.
I didn't know where that was going at first.
Yeah, I know.
Amy and I were
But
like, woo!
the gist of the clip there is I have two of my own. If
To
I
be
didn't,
in a woman's
Yeah,
body is a very special thing. And to have had two of my own, if I didn't feel confident in raising them and nourishing them in such a prosperous way, I want a choice.
Oh, yeah, that's all about
like that
her. She didn't
clip.
give a crap about the kids. It's not the Republican. It's got to be a Democrat. But
Yep, you got it. That's a Democrat. That was the most obvious
it
one.
might be a Gayle King Today Show Republican.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go with number 2 then.
Okay.
I believe it, yeah. I believe that every state needs to make that decision. Every voter in each state need to make that decision. That's being an individual.
So what she's asking here, Gayle King is asking, is what do you think about Roe versus Wade? The first lady answered that way, talking about specific abortion more. That was the second one. What do you think about Roe versus Wade being overturned? Any ideas who that one was?
I mean, that is an independent way of thinking. Could be Republican, too.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a Republican.
I think it sounds like independent.
I'm going independent.
Okay, good guesses. That was the Republican, actually.
Yeah.
So that was the Republican. But she seems very knowledgeable about what happens after Roe versus Wade gets overturned. She says it goes back to the states. I think that's a good way for us to decide this issue nationally.
That is the most conservative way you can publicly speak about abortion as a Republican, though.
Mm-hmm. And that's what she did.
Because what she, I don't know her. I don't know anything about her. But what Republicans will do is say what she just said there because it's the closest thing you've gotten to saving babies' lives. After Roe v. Wade was overturned in Missouri, babies' lives are being saved. In Illinois, it's now an import. The third one?
Yep, the third one.
All right.
And when it comes to an abortion and the sanctity of life, I think that's an issue where we need to maybe be in the gray area. We can't be black and white.
Okay.
This is independent. About skin color?
No, it's not. It's just about whether it's something that we should be deciding all for everybody or all for nobody. She's saying we shouldn't be in the black and white. We should be living in the gray area.
I have no idea.
That strikes me as an independent.
Yeah, that's independent.
That's the independent. That's exactly right. Now Annie, you're right that these are voters that aren't, we get to the last one here in a second, but these voters aren't really getting to the crux of the issue of abortion. Now, the one did answer the question of Roe versus Wade, which is what the original question was.
I really need to hear the question being asked. I need the context in order for me to be able to respond and know, because it does have a lot to do. If you're talking like constitutionally or policy-based wise, or how do I feel about abortion? How you feel about abortion, how I feel about abortion and politically what I expect to happen are not necessarily congruent things, because somewhere in the middle of how I feel about it and what is reality, you have to say to yourself what is realistically true. But there are a lot of things that I value in a specific way that I can't make my personal morals and values the constitutional law of the land. That's not the way it works. So it's hard to hear I thought you were going to have the questions with them.
No, the question was, how do you feel about the overturning of Roe versus Wade?
So the same question for all of them.
Same question for all four. Here's the last one.
And I'm not saying you don't care about the baby or you don't care about the woman. I'm just saying, to me, that is such a personal decision.
So, and that's really all she said. She just kept saying, well, this is a personal decision. This is a personal decision. Again, I don't think really any of these other than the Republican answered the question about Roe versus Wade. They answered how they felt about abortion. And none of them got to the issue that we always talk about in here, which is the central issue of this issue. When does life start? I wish somebody in major media would ask that question of a focus group like that. When do you believe life starts? Because that's the answer to the question.
I think the idea of how do you feel about Roe v. Wade, like the question, that's the thing that I'm saying about the question. Having those responses to one specific question is hard to pull apart. Is there more to this?
That's all they did on abortion. That section was it.
That was the key in on abortion. Well, you said that they were economic voters, so even at that, the economy still reigns supreme. That's how they got in that focus group. It was with Gayle King. If you want to watch the whole thing, you can check it out. We'll be back in the next hour with Jamie Lissow. Stick around.
Doug. Hey, listener. Welcome to Limu's Karaoke Lounge, where Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need, and the music never stops. Hit it.
There's an emu with a full-time job. His partner's Doug, but Limu's the heartthrob. Grubs and worms, that's what Limu eats. Gotta fuel up to save you money and hit the streets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Come on, we're gonna be late to the cookout.
I was just packing up my famous mac and cheese.
I hope you packed the Pepto, too.
Huh?
Pepto-Bismol provides fast relief from heartburn and indigestion. You know, that uncomfortable feeling after you eat too much. And after the deviled eggs, baked beans, and barbecue ribs, you're gonna need it.
Barbecue ribs? I should probably pack an extra shirt, too.
Good call.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When you're in the market for a new dentist, if you're not really thrilled with the one you have right now, or let's be real, some people haven't been to the dentist in a while, that's fine. Now is the time to go and make an appointment with somebody who you're going to feel comfortable with. That's the Foley Dental Group. People come from the bi-state region all over the place to get their teeth cleaned and looked at and x-rayed and all of that at Foley Dental Group. If you need some work done, if you've got some pain, don't put it off any longer. Take care of your dental health with the very best in the business at Foley Dental Group. 618-288-9670. That's 618-288-9670. When you reach out to them and you want to be a new patient, make sure you mention the Annie Frey Show when you do. They're going to work you in, and you're going to be very glad that you chose to go to a top-notch technological place that's going to look at your whole health when they take care of your dental health. So many people rave about the experience at Foley Dental Group, and I think you'll be one of them as well. Brand new facilities at 159 and 270. All the information online at FoleyDentalGroup.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Closing arguments across the country. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Candidates getting in their final hours of campaigning before tomorrow's midterm elections. Michigan's also home to one of the closely watched governor's races.
Now is not the time to go backwards, whether it's women's rights or it's voting rights or it's any of these important investments.
Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer facing a stronger challenge than initially expected from Republican Tudor Dixon. Dixon's opposed to a ballot measure that would make abortion rights part of the state constitution, but says she will accept the voters' decision on it. In Arizona, Democratic Senator Mark Kelly remains locked in a tight race with Republican Blake Masters.
Kelly took questions at an event in Phoenix Monday, defending against criticism from Masters on the border. Kelly insists he's working on getting more monitoring technology to the border and getting border agents raises.
Let me tell you what we don't need is somebody in the United States Senate that says Democrats are psychopaths and that he doesn't even want to work with moderate Republicans. Think about this for a second.
Masters says President Biden and Mark Kelly have erased the border and over the past 2 years incentivized 5 million illegal migrants to come to the country. Tweeting, "If you like illegal immigration and fentanyl, Kelly's your guy." Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A New York man is indicted on weapons charges and other counts for having the gun that matches a shooting outside the home of Republican candidate for Governor Lee Zeldin last month. An attorney for the 18-year-old suspect, Noah Green, pleading not guilty to all counts during an arraignment today. Police have said shots were fired at 3 boys who took cover near Zeldin's home. Hurricane watches now in effect for parts of Florida's Atlantic coast. Forecasters warning that subtropical storm Nicole is expected to become a hurricane over the Bahamas, then hit Florida's east coast on Wednesday, late enough to avoid disrupting Election Day voting. America is listening to Fox News.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Air Comfort Service, heating and cooling, weather.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Sunshine, a few clouds around this afternoon. High today 63. Partly cloudy tonight, low 45. Partly sunny, nice day tomorrow, the high 64. And then tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low 51. Clouds and sun, warmer Wednesday, the high at 74. Mostly sunny, breezy on Thursday, the high at 74. I'm Steve Williams for 97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
97.1 is your place for full Decision 2022 coverage.
Decision 2022.
Sponsored by Air Comfort Service and TR Hughes Homes on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Diamond Shop, you can find them online at thediamondshop.net. I want you to check out how they are doing everything coming into the holiday season to make it as easy for you to walk in there and make a purchase that is going to be something that's going to be, you always have the gift. There's always the one gift that Christmas season, that holiday season, maybe during Hanukkah, you always have the one gift that you're just really excited to give, not to get, but to give. Well, that process starts at the Diamond Shop. When you are looking to put the smile on somebody's face that you are going to remember for years and years to come, you are going to understand very quickly that the Diamond Shop can get you to that destination. The Diamond Shop can do 6 months, same as cash. The Diamond Shop has special discounts on merchandise by becoming a VIP online. You go to thediamondshop.net and you understand all of the different products they have, how unique they are, and if they don't have what you want, they can customize something for you. You can find them online at thediamondshop.net.
If you need to freshen up the inside of your home with a new coat of paint, CertaPro painters can not only help, but they'll knock it out of the park. CertaPro painters have powers well beyond those of ordinary painters, like the power of a cut above, the power of reliability, and the power of neighborhood painters where you live. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated, and it's super easy to set up a free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro painters, proven and trusted experts in painting. Head to CertaPro.com today.
If you own a house in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is without any inspections or need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes St. Louis at 314-782-8000 or at chrisbuysHomesstlouis.com and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant houses, inherited houses, fixer-uppers, beautiful houses. Even the tenant won't pay their rent apartment. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. That's Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis. And check out the best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to chrisbuyshomesinstlouis.com. Google Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis or call 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. and get the offer you have been waiting for. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis.com. Or call 314-782-8000.
How might this week's big stories impact your portfolio? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale with Stifel. Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Eric Robert during On the Money every Saturday from 11 till noon right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
This is Andy Berg, board-certified master arborist with Hanson's Tree Service. Maintaining healthy trees in our urban environment is a challenge, and our trees often don't perform how we'd like. Go to hansonstree.com to find out how we can service your trees today.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy that you're spending some time with us here on 97.1 FM Talk. A big day tomorrow, and people are out and about voting today as well, both in Missouri and Illinois. I believe you can still vote right now. Is there a cutoff time? I don't know for Missouri votes. For the early vote,
I should know that.
In Illinois, you can go vote now. And as we talked with Darren Bailey in the first hour, at about we talked to him from about 12:08, if you want to rewind on the Odyssey app, till about 12:23 or 4. And as he mentioned, you can register up to the point of when you vote in the state of Illinois. So there's no reason not to go be heard. Whatever it is that you want to support or not support, make your voice heard. That's actually what democracy is. Now, we keep hearing from people the doom and the gloom of what is at stake in this election. And this is something, I'm going to play this clip here, but this is something I'm going to ask Jamie Lissow in the next segment at 1:25, who's the comedian on, you see him a lot on Gutfeld. He was in St. Charles. I went and saw him there. Brad, I know you went and saw him the night before I did. Mm-hmm. He was so funny.
Oh, man.
It was such a good time.
It was awesome. And you know what was really cool is we got like really extremely front row seats because we were in the front of the line because it just worked out for us. So we got to see there. And
so you're a front row at the comedy show type of guy.
Front row at the comedy show. And he did make fun of me. So I was super excited about that.
That's not me. I do not want to be. I want to be behind the lights. But he was great. And it was a packed house. And we heard so many listeners who reached out to us who were glad that we had him on the show and we promoted it. So we wanted to have him back on because you guys love him. I love him every time he's on Gutfeld. And if you're not 100% sure which of the comedians Jamie Lissow is, he's the one with the icy blue eyes, and he always kind of acts like he's aloof and doesn't really know what's going on, and then he drills home a very astute point. He's like, you never see it coming, and then he slaps you across the face with it. It's great. So he's going to be on with us at 1:25, and I want to ask him like how he's preparing for the end of democracy. We're going to talk to him about that.
Nobody's saying the world is ended.
You did say there, though, it could be the end of the world.
No, democracy will be ended. The world will continue to exist. The world was here before Hitler. The world was here after Hitler. That's what we're saying. No, the world will not end. The kind of world we have, the kind of country we have, we've got to decide how do we want to exist in this world. And that's what we're talking about. This hyperbole is not a part of what we are saying here. We're talking about what kind of country we have and what kind of world we have.
Okay, Congressman, just to be clear, though, I want to read your quote. It says, but losing this democracy could very well be the end of the world. That's a direct quote from you.
End of the world? Come on.
That's the point, sir. Come on. What are you talking about? The hyperbole is ridiculous. The hyperbole has risen to a place where everybody is watching and going, this is exhausting. My 401k kind of sucks, and I'm working really hard to accommodate the extra month's worth of salary that inflation has taken away from me this year to make ends meet. not going to go on the vacation that I was intending to go on, or not going to be able to make that repair that I was hoping to make because inflation is kicking our butts. The price at the pump is kicking our butts one way or the other. You cannot go through the day and not be encountered by the effects of the Biden administration and the Democratic Party's policies. You can't. You can't escape it. If you figured out a way to escape it, tell me how. The rhetoric is silly, and they expect you to get all emotionally wrapped up in a tizzy because the end of the world is coming. And then when you throw those words back at them, they're like, I didn't say that. Well, I didn't mean it. Well, you meant it for a purpose. You didn't mean it literally, but you meant it to work up people's emotions so that they would passionately go out and support you at the ballot box and maybe take some people with you. And you think that telling them that the world is coming to an end if you don't vote for them, that somehow or another is going to be the thing that causes cooler heads to prevail? Britt Hume responded to
With
this.
the whole thing about the end of democracy, and in this continual refrain we hear that says democracy is on the ballot. No, democracy is the ballot. And what you're basically arguing is that an exercise in democracy in which people go out and vote for candidates is the end of democracy. It's utter nonsense.
Democracy is the ballot box. What a perfect point by Britt Hume. The idea that you have Democrats in the presidency, you've got Democrats in the Senate, you've got Democrats in the House, you have a bicameral Congress, majority of Democrats with an executive in the Oval Office who can sign what they pass into law, and they're telling you that the only way to preserve democracy is to continue to vote for the party that's in power in all of those places. That's autocracy. That is not what we do. And they have to know that the majority of Americans know that. The question is, maybe the noise will be so loud coming from so many different directions that you just won't pay attention to it. You'll sink into your normal voting habits, and you won't be able to stomach a vote for a Republican this time. And worst case scenario, you just don't show up and vote for those Democrats. Or they try to quell the idea that Republicans are potentially going to see that big red wave. Claire McCaskill, she's got that soundbite for you.
I want the Democrats to understand something. Everything you're hearing about the Republicans are winning the polls and Republicans are going to win and we're losing in the polls, do not believe it. I have been on both sides of this a week before big elections where the polls said I was going to win and I lost, and the polls said I was going to lose and I won. So please, everyone vote. Do not believe for a minute that we are not in this and that every single vote doesn't matter. It does.
Claire McCaskill is saying that everything you're hearing about the polls and Republicans winning, don't believe it. She's not saying it's not true. She's just asking that you don't believe it. And she's saying you got to show up and vote. Why? Because the lack of interest in supporting this Democratic Party is what's going to cause the red wave to grow into what? The red tsunami. Who's going to say it? How many times are we going to hear that phrase?
Oh.
I mean, I hope a ton.
I hope a lot.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to hear it a lot.
That'll be an easy scratch off on the bingo card.
Should we make bingo cards?
Ooh, that might be fun.
Let's start writing down.
Okay.
All right.
Red tsunami, put it on the board. People can make suggestions. Hannah, you can maybe watch for some comments.
Comment in the live stream.
What should we put on the bingo cards? Maybe what we'll do is we'll make up, we'll generate some bingo cards so you can download them and print them and play along with us. Claire McCaskill wants you to know that you shouldn't believe what the Republicans or what the media is telling you about the red wave and how it's coming. Don't believe it. You shouldn't believe it. Well, maybe she should send that message over to Hillary Rosen at CNN, Democratic strategist.
I'm a loyal Democrat, but I am not happy. I just think that we did not listen to voters in this election, and I think we're going to have a bad night. And, this conversation is not going to have much impact on Tuesday, but I hope it has an impact going forward, because when voters tell you over and over and over again that they care mostly about the economy, listen to them. Stop talking about democracy being at stake. Democracy is at stake because people are fighting so much about what elections mean. I mean, voters have told us what they wanted to hear.
When you listen to Hillary, she tipped the hand here of the Democratic Party. When you talk about democracy being at stake, how many people, gosh, Brad, over the course of the last, how many weeks have you pulled sound from people where it's like, democracy is on the ballot, democracy is at stake?
All the Democrats, every single one.
Do you know where that issue comes from? January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they care about. And they don't care about January 6th for the reason that they would probably assume that you think that they care about January 6th for. You know why they care about January 6th? Because in their minds, it's their ace in the hole against Donald Trump. They don't care about what happened on January 6th. They're glad January 6th happened. Why? Because it's the best case that they have keeping Donald Trump out of the Oval Office ever again. That's why it's so important to them, not because they're preserving democracy. Guess what? Democracy is still here. 2 years later, democracy is still in great working order. And in this democratic system that we have, this democratic republic that we have, if we can keep it, guess what? People are going to go to the ballot box 2 years into President Biden's term and look at all the people who have been obsessed with the insurrection this whole time. Look at the people who have made this their top priority. How are they faring right now going into the midterm election? Not well. If this was the key issue for the American people, it would look different. The idea of democracy being at stake is hand in hand with the need of the Democratic Party. They're playing a long game here, a very long game. And we don't even care what Joe Biden is doing right now, so much so that Joe Biden can wreck the entire country. And we're not going to focus on it because we're obsessed with what happens in 2024. That's what they care about. The Democrats are willing to lose everything in order to not be beat by Donald Trump again. The Democrats will put everything on the line, especially you. They'll put you on the line as a voter to make sure that they milk every last drop out of the darkest day in American history, so much so that these idiots would compare what happened on January 6th to the darkest day in American history, in my lifetime, certainly, maybe ever, September 11th. The idea that those two events have been compared is such a historic tragedy that if you on September 11th, folks, you know what it's like to watch the coverage that each year gets a little bit less pervasive into your day, but you see it. You pause on the CNN special that they run, which I think is done fantastically, or the Remembrance from the 9/11 Memorial, which I have been to. And you take in that moment. And if you were of an age to know what was going on that day, I was 17, you feel it still. You can't, it's not something that you know, it's something that you feel. It's in you, it is a part of you. The only person or persons who have that same reaction to January 6th are the ones where Donald Trump lives rent-free in their head, and they are so obsessed with the idea that Donald Trump, who lost that election, while Congress was going through the process to certify the election, it was not overturned. Joe Biden became the president of the United States. Just ask Joe Biden. He won that election. He keeps telling us that. He reminds us every chance he gets. He won that election. Folks, in that instance, constitutionally, if I'm a Democrat, constitutionally, democratically, democracy won, right? It won. And if that's the case, and the entire platform that you hear from pundit after pundit after pundit and candidate after candidate and advocate and surrogate after advocate and surrogate is that democracy is at stake. And if you listen to Clyburn there, Jim Clyburn, talk about how the end of the world is coming, they are obsessed with Donald Trump. It is a disease. It is a sickness. And fortunately, it looks like the antidote to the disease is actually democracy itself. And what Donald Trump, whether he's the president again or not, whether he decides to run in like 2 weeks or not, if Donald Trump never chooses to run for political office again, he still has destroyed the Democratic Party for years to come, from the inside out. He moved in to the groupthink brain trust of the Democratic Party and sat there and sat there and sat there. He never left. He didn't have to. They welcome him in and they are obsessed with it. And it is rotting the Democratic Party from the inside out. And it's making those Democrats, those people who do think for themselves and who said, I don't like Donald Trump. I think his policies are terrible. I'm a hardcore liberal. I strongly support the Democratic Party, but I don't recognize this Democratic Party. And it's actually hurting the country, maybe even more than Donald Trump himself would, should he become the president again. I can't get down with this. That doesn't mean that they're going to come over and vote for Donald Trump in 2024 or Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley or whomever it just ends up being. But the Democratic Party is a casualty of TDS. And this version of the Democratic Party being a casualty, that's good for democracy. And at the end, Donald Trump standing there, still standing, still smiling, still taking care of business, whether he's in Washington, D.C. or not. Democracy is going to be what actually preserves the thing that the Democrats are campaigning on. An obsession with January 6th that is an obsession with Donald Trump has nothing to do with the idea of preserving this very thing that we have here in America. Guess what? The Democrats of today, this version of the Democratic Party, not necessarily your uncle at the Thanksgiving table, is a Union Democrat through and through, or somebody who has, lovingly supported the social issues of the Democratic Party for a long time before they became the mainstream idea of this country. You have common sense people in your family who are Democrats who know with their own common sense that this is not the Democratic Party that they support. They're not necessarily going to cross over to the Republican Party, which means if the Republicans win tomorrow, they better get fast to work to make sure that those people who are disenchanted with their home quickly understand, you know what, those Republican policies, they're having a positive effect on my life. Win with action. Let's take a quick break. We're going to connect with Jamie Lissow, actor and comedian, writer and producer, a regular guest, comedian guest on The Gutfeld Show, a favorite of the Annie Frey Show here, Jamie Lissow, when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Thomas Helbig at the Retirement Advisory Group. Your destination, your go-to, your brain trust for protecting your retirement. That's what he does. You go to him if you're nearing retirement. If you are thinking, gosh, I'd really like to retire at 58, or I'd really like to retire at 72, whatever you're up for. Maybe you love what you do. You want to keep working, but you want to know, what is the picture? What have I worked for and saved and sacrificed for myself? What am I going to be able to live on? Maybe if I want to retire 3 years earlier, how will I have to adjust my lifestyle? Well, you go to Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, the friendly folks at the Retirement Advisory Group. You can sit down and listen to a no-cost, no-obligation review of your retirement. They're going to look at what you have done, where you are, and what your goals are, and say, this is how you attain them. Or congratulations, you can retire 2 years earlier if you want to. Thomas Helbig, he understands the process. He knows that you're a self-sacrificing person who has worked hard to accommodate yourself so you can be independent in this decision, and he wants to get you there with as much confidence as he possibly can. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494 at retirementkey.com.
The federal government is hiring 87,000 new IRS enforcement agents. Make no mistake, with spending out of control, they're looking to collect revenue. The first target will be you. If you have not paid your taxes or filed them in years, let me help you get that target off your back. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. So if you have unfiled returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
On the Monday Mark Reardon Show, don't know if you've noticed, the midterms are on Tuesday. Final predictions and a preview.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Frey Show. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for spending some of your beautiful afternoon with us on a Monday afternoon on Election Eve. We are so excited to be here with you at 97.1 FM Talk. We are St. Louis's home for conservative talk. But you guys are what makes it the home, because we get to come here to be with you, and we are grateful for each and every one of you. You guys had a great time out at the parade, the Veterans Day Parade.
Yes, it was so fun.
So I was not there because I was in Springfield, Illinois with my son's volleyball team that I helped my husband coach, and my daughter's volleyball team also made the state tournament, and I was super sad to miss it. I'm usually there at that parade. Tell me about the experience.
So, yep, it started at Bangert Park and it went down New Florissant Road. It was great. There was a ton of kids, a ton of veterans. It was really great. Ryan brought all of his kids, so we all threw out candy from the truck, and it was great. I think a few people might have thought that I was you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
They're like, "We love you, Annie." I was like, "Annie loves you too."
You're like cussing everybody out online. Like,
and Mark Reardon was in the truck behind us. He was like, "Yeah, she's a mother of 4." I was like, "Stop it."
Really, a lot of people thought you were me?
I think a few did.
That's an upgrade.
And then
a
I heard
17-year upgrade.
I heard one, there's Annie Frey. I was like, nah.
It's weird. I guess if you were reading the sign that was on, you would say that. But it's, people got to hear my last name more than they see it.
Yeah.
It's spelled Frey. It looks like Frey.
Yeah.
And if you watched Game of Thrones, they said the House of Frey. And I think it was Frey.
Oh.
But it's Frey. And I married into it, so I made it my own. But yeah, it's always weird to me. People will be like, "Oh, are you Annie Frey?" And I'm like, "Don't you hear my name more than you see my name?" It seems like you would think it. So you had a great time.
Yes, the parade was awesome. I'm really glad that we all got to be out there and support it and be a part of it.
So let's talk a little bit more about Election Day as it is setting in tomorrow. A lot of you have casted your vote. I would love to know if you have voted already. You can leave us a comment on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. Let us know if you voted already, what your experience was. Brad was saying, he said that on the air, right? We talked about that on the air.
What?
When Brad was talking about voting early. Maybe that wasn't on the air.
I don't think he said it.
I think that was off air.
But he posted it on Twitter, his sticker yesterday.
Yeah. He went and voted early yesterday. And so he can tell us that story later on in the 2:00 hour. But I would love to know what your experience was when you went to vote early. Did it seem like they had a good turnout? Was there any reaction from the people who were at the polling place about turnout so far? I have been talking to a lot of people who are attached to a lot of campaigns and trying to just take the pulse of what the experience is. And the reports that I'm hearing is that early vote for Republicans is up significantly, and that the Democrat early vote is down dramatically, which is why, specifically in the state of Illinois, I suspect that you have Kamala Harris and Joe Biden coming out to stump for J.B. Pritzker in the state of Illinois, in Chicago, in Cook County. Why would you need to bring in the president and the vice president to stump for a Democrat governor in the state of Illinois unless there was trouble? I hope that this emboldens you to know that your efforts so far, I don't know how close this is going to get. And I also know that the Darren Bailey race in the state of Illinois it's the top ticket item. Statewide official, it's going to be an indicator of where the direction Illinois is going. But right in the Illinois 13th, the open seat that was drawn for J.B. Pritzker staffer and a Joe Biden staffer, Nikki Budzinski. I mean, she is a rip and read from the Biden Pritzker playbook, and they drew, good grief, folks. If you want to know what gerrymandering is, just Google Illinois 13th district, Regan Deering's district. That's where she's running. If she wins, she will be my congressional representative. If Nikki Budzinski wins, she will be my congressional representative. And boy, will we be on her tail to make sure she's representing the people of the 13th correctly. You still have time to go push Regan Deering, the Republican, in the Illinois 13th district across the line. Because that district was drawn, I think at the time, as a Democrat +7 district and handed over to a transplant Democrat staffer to say, here, we need one more person in Congress and we want it to be you. We'll cut this piece out and hand it to you. Because they thought it would be a shoo-in. They didn't know that the red wave was potentially is going to be. You still got to show up and do your part. If you are looking at these close districts in Missouri, if you're looking at the county executive race here in St. Louis County, and you are thinking, gosh, are you thinking that is there really a chance that Sam Page might lose this? Now's the time, folks, to get out and make sure that people are going to show up to vote and be heard. There's a lot of opportunity for voters right now on Wednesday. It is what it is. And we will have to figure out what we're going to do moving forward. I'm prepared in a lot of ways in Illinois to be really happy about some things and really upset or really frustrated or really disappointed about others. I'm going into it with that preparation. Right now, you still have the opportunity to do something about it. it's important to understand the issues that are key front and center right now for voters, being crime is certainly one of them. The economy is the top tier issue. The idea, when we ask these poll questions a lot, it is based on the idea that people feel a little bit of infringement from their government on their personal liberties that don't come from government. Just look at our founding documents. There's this idea that your freedom, your liberties, the idea of what it means to be an American, that is being pushed to the limit, to the brink, and something's got to give. Generally speaking, when we talk about freedom and liberty issues during an election, we'll be talking about abortion, and people say we should have the freedom and the right to choose with what to do with our bodies. Or we'll be talking about guns, and we'll be talking about the Second Amendment and whether or not we should be able to have the right to bear arms shall not be infringed, and all these phrases that come into the conversation, into the vernacular, and cause us to have the same conversation over and over and over again. Those are all kind of to the side. We're hearing a lot of people talk about crime, and it's not really centered around what guns you're going to get to keep and which ones you're going to have to give up to the government. But make no mistake about it, the people who are running for election right now, the people who are out there trying to advocate for your vote, who are on the left, want to push into those freedoms and limit them. And the question you have to ask yourself is, if they were to do that, when it comes to the Second Amendment, if they were to come in and limit your Second Amendment rights, how does this solve the problem that they are suggesting they are out to solve? Does it actually stop the crimes from happening? Does it actually stop gun violence from happening? I simply look at places where a lot of these gun laws are implemented and say, how is the gun crime there? It's not really pointing in the favor of the policies that have been put into place. Are there common sense attitudes that people can have to try to curtail violence and crime and, death in the areas where crime and violence and death are increasing in this country? Yeah, you bet you they are. And I think it should be comprehensive. Look at everything that is in existence right now. Look at the way that guns are sold in the streets of St. Louis for $25-$50 a pop, go from hand to hand. What gun law is going to make that stop? How are we going to stop the illegal possession of firearms that exists already, where these guns are in the hands of criminals who are committing crimes with the illegal guns that they have? How do we stop that? Do we only care about getting guns out of these poverty-stricken neighborhoods, or do we care at all about getting poverty out of these poverty-stricken neighborhoods? Do we care about providing opportunity to these people? Do we care about actually going in and changing circumstances and providing opportunity for people so that they can help push themselves out of those situations into better scenarios and supporting them while they do it? With investment in the neighborhoods, with growth opportunities. There's some of that going on in St. Louis right now. It's a good thing. But you can't just care about pulling inanimate objects off the street to try to solve problems and making it illegal for non-criminal citizens who are flexing their Second Amendment muscles just because they can, and that is all you need to know to be able to possess a firearm in this country. It's a Second Amendment right that you have. And there's no permission slip that you need to submit in order to be able to do that. And when you have a scenario where politicians try to come on the scene and they try to make it seem as though the gun is the problem, that gives them the permission slip to not look at the actual foundational concerns and generational issues that keep those same neighborhoods in poverty-stricken, depraved states that never, ever, ever have to get out. Their campaign flyers will talk about what they tried to do to get the guns off the street. If the crime still exists, and if the crimes are still being committed with illegal guns, then you haven't solved the problem. And you can't only stomp on that ground when it comes time for an election. The issues that voters are facing right now, the issues that are at the forefront of people's minds right now are certainly economic, crime, freedom, liberty issues, but all of these other things, they're still underlying. And a drastic change in your local government, in your county government, in your school board, as people start to declare their efforts to try to run for school board. Those matter as much as anything else does. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Steve Moore is going to join us. He is the Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation. And we're going to talk to him about Election Day tomorrow, about the rate hike last week, and how this is all coming to a head for Americans to weigh in on Election Day tomorrow. Steve Moore on The Annie Frey Show when we return.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to The Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
So Laura Michael Insurance, I'm so excited to be partnering with this St. Charles-based insurance company that is the destination. It's a place for you to reach out to when you are looking for your personal insurance and also your commercial-based insurance. She is fantastic at helping you manage risk for your business owners, for people who are managing their insurance situation for families. She does auto, home, life, and commercial insurance, and she does this on the basis of 25 plus years of experience. You want to have somebody who is going to be able to look at your whole picture. You are going to want to have somebody who is going to be able to assess what the offerings are, what you should cover, what maybe you don't really need to cover, what would be nice to cover, and then you can make those decisions for yourself. She can help you control your insurance costs, and she is an advocate for small businesses throughout the entire process. It's not like you're going to reach out to Laura Michael Insurance, get everything on the books, and then that's going to be it. She's going to monitor it as the time moves on, as people come and go in your business. Laura Michael Insurance is your captain when it comes to making sure you have the right insurance, the best coverage, at the right price the whole time. Reach out to Laura Michael Insurance at lauramichaelinsurance.com. That's Laura, Michel, insurance.com.
Paid for by Blaine for Congress.
I'm Blaine Luetkemeyer, and I approve this message.
We've seen some price increases. Some folks have raised worries that this could be a sign of persistent inflation. But that's not our view.
Reality is, inflation is now at a 40-year high, costing the typical family over $700 more every month just to stay even. That's the Biden extremist tax you pay every day. You pay it at the gas pump because of the extremist war against American energy, shutting down pipelines and using red tape to stop new development. You pay it in the devastation in your retirement account. You pay it in the border crisis and out-of-control crime wave. And now, they've driven America into a recession. Our most powerful weapon to stop them is our vote. It's in our hands to stop the damage they're doing to our families and America. November 8th. Vote.
I'm Howard Mackler of GetRefunds.com. You may have heard me talk about the payroll tax refund program that gives businesses up to $26,000 for every employee they kept on payroll during COVID. But today, I'm not going to do the talking. I'm letting a real Get Refunds client tell you everything.
I'm Dennis Brewer, the owner of IPM Services. I heard about payroll tax refund and GetRefunds.com on the radio. When COVID hit my business, production slowed down. We were unable to give employees bonuses. They got me approved for a payroll tax refund, and with that money, it allowed me to pay off debt and give bonuses. If you have a business, you should go to GetRefund.com and start your claim right now.
GetRefunds.com helped their business, and we can help yours too. Go to GetRefunds.com and see if you qualify in just 8 minutes. GetRefunds.com, powered by Innovation Refunds.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Today is November 7th, and the midterm elections are tomorrow. Tune in for full coverage on your home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I love those signs when I came in. Socialism. Give me a break. What idiots. Socialism.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty idiotic, too, socialism. That is not necessarily the people of Illinois. That's where Joe Biden was stumping. Why is Joe Biden in Illinois to stump for a Democrat? Whew, that means something is afoot. And socialism, it's laughable to him. I wonder what Stephen Moore thinks about that little interaction there. Stephen Moore, welcome back to the show, distinguished fellow in economics at the Heritage Foundation, and with us once again. Joe Biden in Illinois stumping for Democrats. That seems strange.
Wow. That does suggest maybe they're worried about a massive red wave election. We'll never know until all the votes are counted, but it's looking like that, maybe even a tidal wave. And I think the fact that Biden is in Illinois, the bluest of blue states, is an indication of how worried the Democrats are about being wiped out. And I want to say this again. I said it last week. I'm not a rah-rah Republican. I'm not here to tell you or your listeners that's how Republicans are going to save our country. But the Democrats have just been so out of touch with what people care about. They're talking about abortion. They're talking about LGBTQ issues. They're talking about climate change. And Americans are thinking about how they're going to pay their bills, Annie. Their finances and how they're going to be able to keep their jobs and what's going on with crime in the cities. And so anyway, I think this is indicative, that when Joe Biden goes to Illinois, that's basically saying, you know what? The politicians in Pennsylvania and Arizona and North Carolina and Georgia, these battleground states, they don't want Joe Biden in the backyard because they don't think it's going to help them. Now, I mean, socialism, everything Joe Biden has done has moved us in a socialist direction. When you spend and borrow $4 trillion, that's 4 with 12 zeros, folks, that's, I think, a lurch towards socialism. Wouldn't you say, Annie?
Yeah, I certainly would. I want to give you the opportunity to just bring it down to brass tacks, not Econ 101, like Econ 100 here, Steve Moore. So bring it down to the Annie Frey Show, folks here. What is the difference between what America is, or capitalism, or free market economy, and what the Democrats or the Democratic Socialists are proposing for this country?
Well, I'll make it economics 99, even lower than economics 100. No, it really is simple. Economics is not complicated. We are a rich country. We are the country that everyone in the world wants to come to. We are a good country and prosperous country because we are a free enterprise country, that we believe that people, if they want to start a business or work hard to get ahead, this is the country you can do it in. Even, the poorest people in America are richer than most people in the world. Did you know that, Annie? Even our poor people are pretty rich in global terms. And it's why all the immigrants want to come here. And so we were really built on the whole idea of a limited government, That's what our Constitution is about. And what's happened over time is we keep growing the government bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, I would say when you have a government that's bigger than 50% of your economy, so your government sector is bigger than your private sector businesses and your private sector workers, then you're a socialist country, right? Now, we're not there yet. We're at about 35 to 40%, but we're moving in the direction of socialism. And where has socialism ever worked? Didn't work in North Korea. It didn't work in Cuba. It didn't work in Venezuela. It didn't work in Argentina. It didn't work in Greece. None of these countries that have tried socialism have had a happy outcome.
Right. And, you've got a book on this right now that I would like to point people to, Govzilla, How the Relentless Growth of Government is Devouring Our Economy and Our Freedom. So I don't want you to give the whole book away, but people are living it right now. So this is kind of like you're in it in this moment. But, when we talk about the size of government, I think it's something that like the talking heads like you and me, we kind of use these phrases on a regular basis. But while people are putting themselves in their cars to go drive to the ballot box right now, the Democrats and the Republicans have very different solutions for problems that we often agree upon. We can point at something and both sides can say, this is bad, this needs to be improved. The Democrats always think there's a government solution for it.
Exactly.
Tell me how the growth of government, for people who are considering, do I vote Democrat or Republican in any particular race? Tell me how the growth of government is a vote against themselves.
Well, the first quote in the book, my book about the growth of government, what I call Govzilla. The first quote is from Ronald Reagan, and he said very famously that a government that is big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you've got. And isn't that true? If the government's going to give you all these things, it has to take. In other words, again, let's keep this really simple, Economics 100. If the government's going to give you $1,000, Annie, it's got to take $1,000 from me, right? Or the people listening to the show, because the government doesn't create money. It can print money, but it can't create the kind of resources that are needed for that $1,000. So the government is just redistributing it, and it's redistributing from people who are productive and starting businesses and working hard. And what makes people angry is they see people who are not working, who are getting all this money, and sometimes they're getting more money than the people are working. That's just craziness. We've moved so much in the wrong direction. We don't want, they talk about a 50, 60, 70% tax rate. No. You're going to reduce enterprise. You're going to reduce work effort. You're not going to give people the incentive to, start a business. Who's going to start a business is if your business is successful, the government's going to say, take 70% of your profits.
Yeah.
Right?
So Steve, we're speaking with Steve Moore. He is the economic guru that we have on each week here. He's with Heritage Foundation. Like I said, Republicans and Democrats alike can see something and identify something as problematic. And, voters who may not even know exactly where they're going to fall on the side of the political spectrum this election, they got to make a decision fast because tomorrow is election day. If you're telling me that the left, the Democrats will often say, listen, there's a person over here who needs that $1,000. They need it. They need it to feed their family. We have to give it to them. You're telling me that in order to do that, you got to take it away from somebody else. What is the alternative to robbing Peter to pay Paul, to the big government? The Democrats kind of position themselves as the adults in the room that are going to come in and make everything fair. What is the Republican, the conservative value that helps solve that problem for that person who's in need?
Well, first of all, Annie, let me be very clear about this. Republicans oftentimes like, socialism too, because the politicians like to spend other people's money. That's what they do. They're so generous, aren't they? With your and my money, they're not digging into their own wallet.
Well, they never seem to run out of it. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's a limitless checkbook. But what we've done, and just put it in your own individual household terms. Okay, let's keep this simple again. So, Annie, if you go out and spend money all the time and I want this, I want that, I want that diamond bracelet, I want this, I want that, I want, that lobster dinner, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so how are you going to pay for it? You're going to run up your credit card, right? And it gets higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Well, at some point, Annie, you're going to have to pay that credit card back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what the government's doing. It's running up our credit card. And guess what, folks? We're going to have to pay that back. Our national debt right now, the accumulated deficits, most of which have been in the last few years, $22 trillion. A lot of that we owe to, they said, well, we owe that to ourselves. No, we owe that to the Saudi Arabians. We owe that to the Chinese. What are we doing to our kids here, folks? Think about that. Think about what this is doing to the future of our country when you're further and further and further in debt. And so I do think we need a correction. We've got to stop. If you're in a ditch, the first thing you do is stop digging. Of course, Biden just last week said, I'm going to give out $400 billion of free student loan stuff. It's like, well, it's not free. It just means you and I are going to pay for other people's student loans.
Yep. And the thing is that it's not sustainable. We cannot continue doing this forever. The bottom will fall out sooner or later. Hopefully, Steve Moore, people get out and vote tomorrow.
The cavalry is coming. I'm really optimistic about the future of this country because you know what? When things are going wrong, Americans fire the coach and they get somebody in there. We need, we need somebody who can direct this country in the right way. Now, whether that's Donald Trump or not, I wouldn't say. I worked for Donald Trump. I think he was an amazing president, but there's a lot of talent out there. Let's get somebody in there who knows something about business because Joe Biden and his people don't know anything about how to run anything.
And we're living it. Steve Moore, people can go get the longer version at GovZilla, How the Relentless Growth of Government is Devouring Our Economy and Our Freedom. And we thank you each and every week for giving us some of your time on the Annie Frey Show.
Okay, folks, don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Amen. We will be doing so. Steve Moore, Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation, with us here each week. We're going to take a quick break, and Ryan and Brad and Hannah and I are going to prepare ourselves and you for Election Day tomorrow in the 2 o'clock hour. You're going to stick around with us. Join us on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat and go vote in the poll. I'll tell you about that when we come back.
Plain talk from our true constitutional conservative voice, Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
We have to stop the crazy liberal agenda of defunding the police. We need more support for law enforcement. Give them the tools to stop violent crime, illegal immigration, and the cartels from flooding our state with their illegal drugs.
Mary Elizabeth Coleman opposes all taxpayer funding for illegal immigrants and will fight to cut state funding to cities that give sanctuary to illegal immigrants.
Biden's open border policy has brought fentanyl to our neighborhoods. Thousands of Missourians are dying as a result. Missouri should join the other states and send our National Guard troops to the border if that's what it takes to keep our families safe.
True constitutional conservative Mary Elizabeth Coleman supports a Parents' Bill of Rights, is pro-jobs, A-rated by the NRA, and the only one in this state Senate race endorsed by Missouri Right to Life. Paid for by friends of Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
Air Comfort Service, 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. I'm going to give you that number here at the end of this little 60 seconds. I'm going to talk about Air Comfort Service. So I want you to put it in your phone because if your furnace is on the fritz in any way, shape, or form, or if it ever were to become on the fritz, you want to make sure that you have the right people to call. Why did I choose to call Air Comfort Service into my home when I had an air conditioning issue, a furnace issue, a water heater issue? Well, because I trust them. I don't want to spend money on something or on service, like a product or a service that is going to come back and bite me in the butt. I want to pay for quality. I want to pay for quality products and service. Air Comfort Service is that, and they care deeply about you as a customer. They're going to connect you with every rebate that they can possibly get you to help bring the cost down. They're going to help you with financing as well, 0% financing in some cases. Also, Air Comfort Service is a phone call away. 314-513-0091. Mention Annie when you give them a call. AirComfortService.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
KFTK FM Florissant.
Driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group.
97.1 FM Talk.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Once the voting
voting is over, the counting could last for days. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Officials in one of the states that could decide control of the U.S. Senate, Pennsylvania, reminding voters they may not know all results on election night.
Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney says patience will be needed during Pennsylvania's vote count.
With tens of thousands of people voting by mail, it will take some time to count all the ballots. And remember, by law, staffers are not allowed to start opening and counting these ballots until Election Day is over.
Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner had a message for those considering hampering voting.
Or intimidate people at the polls, or do things to election workers. I invite you to a sentencing that is happening in Philadelphia later this month.
2 men are due to be sentenced after bringing unlicensed guns to the Philadelphia Convention Center during vote counting following the 2020 election. In Pittsburgh, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
The state is also asking counties how many ballots have issues recently flagged by the state Supreme Court as set-asides, namely undated or incorrectly dated ballots. Some counties allow those issues to be corrected. After visiting New York yesterday, President Biden rallies Democrats in Maryland tonight, while former President Trump will be in Ohio with Senate hopeful J.D. Vance, who's up against Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan.
Democrats will move forward. Congressional Democrats will move forward in delivering for the American people.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says the president has taken historic steps to lower costs. Republicans say his policies help fuel inflation and many other problems. Nevada Republican Senate hopeful Adam Laxalt telling Fox Across America's Jimmy Fallon Democrats deserve a red tsunami.
It's one of our only shots of saving our country.
Former Presidents Obama and Clinton campaigning for Democratic Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, who's featuring endorsements from Laxalt family members in her ads. The White House also saying today there are no specific, credible, reported threats to the U.S. elections. America is listening to Fox News.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Air Comfort Service, heating and cooling, weather.
The official 97.1 FM Talk Weather Center forecast. Sunshine, a few clouds around this afternoon. High today 63. Partly cloudy tonight, low 45. Partly sunny, nice day tomorrow, the high 64. And then tomorrow night, partly cloudy, low 51. Clouds and sun, warmer Wednesday, the high at 74. Mostly sunny, breezy on Thursday, the high at 74. I'm Steve Williams for 97.1 FM Talk.
The nice thing about Andrea's sauce is that it is so versatile. You can use Andrea's brush-on steak sauce on anything, any meat, really, any protein, and steak is in the name, so obviously it's great on steak. But poultry, fish, you can use it as a binder for burgers, which is just great. You don't have to worry about figuring out what you're going to use. You can use some cheese and some Andrea's sauce, and you got a great burger. Or you can use it as an ingredient in stews. This time of year is great for that. This weekend, though, we actually focused on a little bit more of the salad dressing, which I don't mention often enough. They have their own steak sauce and their own salad dressing at Andrea's. Both of them very good. Both of them very versatile. You can use both of them as a baste as well. We just used it on our salad, but you need to try those if you haven't. They're both locally made right here in Fairview Heights, O'Fallon, Illinois, and you can get them at area grocery stores like Schnucks and Straub's and Deerberg. So check those out. Again, Andrea's steak sauce and Andrea's salad dressing. Locally made, locally famous, and internationally used as well. Everywhere people order Andrea's sauce. Get it at Andreas.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie siding has never been more popular. With all of the options available, you need a partner to maximize your investment. The rising prices on vinyl siding has made Hardie siding a great alternative. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
The pain was so bad, it felt like I was walking on knife blades. It took my life away. And my doctor recommended that I go to Good Feet. I took about 4 steps. I started to cry. It was the first time that I had no pain. I'm not an actor. I want people to know, whether you're young or old, these are life-changing. I've tried the rest. The best is Good Feet. I'm ready to rock and roll, man. Let's go to the ballpark. We're going to Monster Jams. We're going camping. My attitude's changed. I'm a happier man. I'm like a regular dad now. The kids have seen that change and that confidence in dad, and they like the new dad.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerbergs.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Come in and try the Good Feet feeling today. Comfort, energy, performance, and pain relief at the Good Feet store.
Becco's new dishwashers use 1/3 the energy and half the water of U.S. standards for dishwashers. And from now until December 31st, you can save up to $200 in gift card rebates on eligible models. Visit Becco.com for more details. That's Becco.com.
Hi, this is Ken. And Lori Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. We're dedicated to helping individuals and families work toward their financial goals.
If you're retiring soon, join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. for your Retirement Highway.
Investment advisory services by individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
If the media ignores them, then we're talking to them. And we're posting it all as it happens. 97.1 on Twitter and Facebook.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thank you for being here. The next 36 hours, 48 hours are going to be white knuckle. I am so excited for it. And since you have 97.1 FM Talk, you are in exactly the right place. Thank you for making 97.1 your home for conservative talk, because it is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. And we will have election coverage tonight, all tomorrow night on 97.1. Starts at 6 p.m. with Fox coverage and goes till, what's the scheduled time?
Well, it goes to the whole night. Will start at 6 and go all the way to midnight. And
midnight?
Yeah. So interspersed is kind of 6 to 7 is Fox News coverage. 7 to about 10 or 10:30 is going to be Reardon leading things with all of us at 97.1, checking in at various times, different people in studio, John Lamping, Mark Cox, among others. And then from about 10 or 10:30 through midnight, it'll be Fox coverage again.
That's fantastic, because there will be results still coming in at that time, because polls close as the time zones move on, and it's going to be so exciting. So on the Annie Frey Show, what we're doing is a special election night watch party, special coverage from my basement. And if you haven't seen an Annie Frey Show watch party on YouTube yet, you have not lived. Is that too broad a statement?
No, not at all.
That's 100% accurate.
Yeah, you're dead to us if you have not.
Ryan, really the motivating direction that I was.
Ryan.
So we did a site check last night for the broadcast in my basement, and Brad came over and was scoping things out. And we have really, really big plans for Ryan Wiggins.
I have a green screen.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I didn't know that was already set up.
I know how to make it work.
He's coming over tonight to help.
So can I do live reporting from space? race and stuff like that.
Only if I let you.
Sweet.
He's going to be in control of the green screen.
All right.
So the idea here is Ryan is going to be our results center reporter. And he's going to be in, if you watched during COVID, when we did all those broadcasts where we were all remote, I broadcasted from my basement, and that's going to be where Ryan is in the election center. And he is going to have straight results for us there. No weirdness, straight-laced. And we thought, if we need someone who can just only give us facts and not waver and not wander away from the message, who should we pick? Let's choose Ryan Wiggins.
Yeah. And I will know that I can only say facts because I will have to wear a reporter's hat.
Yeah, we've already discussed it.
So when the hat is on, I can only say true things.
Known things.
Known things.
True known facts.
Yes.
But we then are going to have a place set up where he can make any predictions or draw any conclusions that he wants, as long as it doesn't get me banned on YouTube. That's the only restriction. But you will know based on where he is when he's reporting this that we're in Ryan's world right now.
Ryan's World is a real TV show for children. If you walk through Target, you will see their merch. I will be reporting from different areas in your basement, apparently, though, and based on the background,
people will know.
We'll know what we are talking about. Okay. All right. So is the green screen where I can go crazy and tell you what I think about the numbers and all that? And okay.
No.
So that's a different place.
Brad, should we tell him or no?
I think he kind of has an idea, but I maybe we could save it as a secret.
Have to tune in to check out.
Can we call it Ryan's secret place?
You can call it whatever you want.
Let's not do that.
But like I said, I do not want to get banned from YouTube.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Is it going to be hard for you to delineate data and results from your desire to wade into
what this all
telling
means?
People about your great foresight?
Yes, because what I love doing is seeing, this looks good, that means, and then fill in the blank with 50 other things. So, but I'll know if I'm wearing the hat, all I'm going to tell you is, here's what we know.
Here's what I'm excited about. Because Ryan makes predictions all the time that I think are ridiculous.
But, track record.
No, I'm setting up this whole thing so that I can call scoreboard.
Okay. All right. No, what are you excited about? What are you saying here?
No, I just want to see in real time all of the things that you're going to surmise to see how quickly they do or don't come.
Okay.
But then there are also times where Ryan will make really bold predictions, and he'll even preface it like, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Marco Rubio is going to pull it off in Florida. And I'm going to go, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go out on a limb right now, since I'm not wearing the hat. Say, I think Republicans might take back the House.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. But sometimes you say those things with great sincerity.
Yeah, you're right.
But so if we put you in the place that we have...
Secret place.
We have built for you.
Okay.
It has been assembled. People will know that you are predicting and that this is, you could take it to the bank or not if you want to place bets on things, that it's something that Ryan is formulating in real time with the data that he will be reporting when he's wearing his hat. And we'll see how accurate you are.
Where can we celebrate? If we have something that goes the way you're wanting it to go, do I have to go to Ryan's secret place? Or can I...
Sounds so weird.
Where can I lay on the floor and run in a circle like Curly? Where can we do that?
Well, Brad and I will be in the main area.
Okay.
And you are allowed to come join us in conversation there too.
Is there a particular time or race or anything that if they call it, we can take off our reporter hats? Theoretically and literally.
And then put on our party hat.
You are the only one who has to wear a hat that distinguishes what your role is.
So you guys get complete freedom.
This is a you thing.
Okay.
We get complete freedom because we have self-control.
Oh, okay, great. I have a ton of self-control. It just involves a lot of prognostication.
That it does, and we just want to make sure, since Ryan was going to be our reporter in the field or in the other room, and since he's going to be our reporter, that we know specifically when Ryan says factually reported data, since you're our reporter guy, because nobody else is doing election results,
right?
Hard data as it comes in. We just want to distinguish for the people the data. So that's really more.
You know what I just realized I need to bring tomorrow night is, and this is going to sound funny, but a dong, like a dong,
a gong.
Yeah, I need to bring
a gong.
No, it's a dong. It's not a gong. A gong has a sound. A gong is when you hit. And it's like the Gong Show. Boom, it has a sound.
The what show?
The Fox News.
The what show?
Fox News hit.
The what show? The what show?
The Gong Show.
Oh, so it's a gong.
Yes.
That's not what you said.
No, I'm saying two different things. Gong is not what I'm talking about. Things. I'm saying that we need tomorrow night to have a dong. And it needs to be prevalent.
Nobody's going to watch now.
Because Fox News does. Coming into the top of this hour even.
We're definitely getting kicked off.
If it's breaking news, Fox News will come in. Dong.
We try to preface this like, oh, the Andy Frey Show wants to do something really cool and different than everyone else, but I don't think that they'll actually let us on the station to do a serious election results broadcast. And now I know why. Now I get it. Now I'm not offended. I'm actually grateful for the future of my career. What?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Google dong right now.
No, not on the work.
No, not you, Brad.
No.
Put it on Ryan's computer.
Fox News.
No. You just Googled
Fox News dong.
I can't even believe I'm
Enter.
having this conversation today. Of all the things to talk about.
Interesting. Jesse Waters came up.
It's a story.
Fox News dong. Top story, Jesse Waters.
Careful.
Out of all the things we're going to get kicked off of YouTube for right before the election, it's going to be this.
Listen, I need, right before I announce some huge result that's come in, I need a huge dong.
Even if you would have said it like that, it would have made a little more sense. I just Googled dong for the folks at home, and I'm happy to report that dictionary.com says dong of a bell. Make a deep resonant sound.
Exactly.
But nobody, that's dictionary. Now let's go to Urban Dictionary.com.
Don't do an image search. Actually, Fox News dong.
Kids at
home,
home,
my gosh, I
earmuffs.
just did an image search.
Don't do that. You're on a work computer.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're on your personal computer.
Work won't give me a computer. I paid for this one myself.
I wonder why.
No. I have got to have the most boring search history ever.
Not anymore.
It's like Rubio, Florida. Economy. Steve Moore book. Govzilla.
Dong.
What does dong mean?
Dong.
Exactly.
Images. Whoa.
It's money.
She took a real turn here.
It's money.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really? If you type in dong and put images.
Vietnamese money.
Is it really?
Yes.
How's the U.S. dollar doing against the dong?
It's 0.4.
What's the street price on a dong right now? In U.S. dollars.
0.4 what?
0.00004 United States dollars.
Oh, man. You take a lot of dong to get a dollar.
Little dong.
Yeah. Man, I did not know that about Vietnam.
Which hat should he be wearing right now?
This is the crazy hat.
Yeah, so I do need that though, because then okay, here's a real result. We're gonna call New Hampshire, or we're gonna call Maine or something, Dong. Then you'll know.
Hey, Steve Moore, if you're listening, and by Steve Moore, I mean my boss, who happens to also be named Steve Moore. We're gonna need a dong for tomorrow night's election coverage.
Let me text him. Need the dong. Need a dong. Not
Not the. Don't say the, or you won't be working here anymore.
You're gonna have to go to like Party City.
Can you imagine if I actually texted that like to a female colleague? Steve would probably be okay with it.
Don't ask Trisha.
Yeah, Steve. You know where I can get.
Oh.
Never mind. All right. Woo, let's get on here.
Joe just said I have to shut the door to my office because the audio is not safe for work.
No, it's not anymore. That's why we need.
Just tell him this is serious election coverage.
There we go.
Stop taking your clothes off.
I'm hot.
Well.
Talking about dong got them all.
That's what it does.
It's got them hotter than expected.
Yeah. Anytime we talk about currency exchanges or sound effects, I just get all riled up. And I look pretty good now, so no complaints from the audience.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about having a sounder for when
No, that's
real
what you
results,
were talking about.
when results come in.
No, I was talking about real things.
We were talking about how Ryan had to delineate between serious time and not serious time. And then Ryan just gave us an example of it for about, 15 minutes?
You people in the comments right now. All the things I want to say but can't.
So what is the green screen for then? Can you tell me that?
No.
It's a separate place from the election coverage spot and Ryan's secret place.
The funny...
What?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't really
now,
have an answer.
will you guys be able to use the green screen? Or is it just me? I hope it's you guys too.
I don't even know that you get to use the green screen at this point.
Well, it sounds like Brad's running it.
Yeah, Brad's in charge.
Mm-hmm. So
he's making decisions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're running
I'm
it, then you
pulling different
probably won't
backgrounds
be.
as we speak.
So can you use it then too?
Can I use it? Yeah, if I want
I would
to.
love to see us
It's my green
really
screen.
take advantage of this.
It's my green screen.
Yeah. And
I can
don't
use it.
if I'm in the election zone and I say, give me a dong.
It's not going to be in there.
Don't do an image on the green screen.
Guy.
Unless it's Vietnamese currency.
I triple dog dare you to try that, Ryan.
You're gonna have to tune in to
Let's
find
play chicken.
Okay.
All right. The
All
YouTube
right.
live chat poll. Do you feel the election results will indicate that there has been a paradigm shift in how Americans vote? Yes or no? You guys ready to talk about this when we come back?
Yes.
All right. Get the dong. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
Strawberry lipstick state of mind.
From abortion to inflation, the issues in our local elections have far-reaching implications. We're breaking these issues down on The Home Stretch, Odyssey's new original podcast. I'm Doug Sovereign. Each week I'll talk to a range of experts to give you a no-fuss 15-minute download of the most pressing issues on this year's ballots. Listen to The Home Stretch on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Stewart's American Mortgage, the bagel loan guy. When you are thinking about improving your financial situation, have you considered doing a cash out refinance on your home? Mortgage rates are higher than they were before, but the interest rates on your credit card debt, if it's ballooning and getting out of hand and you're having trouble keeping up with the monthly interest payments that you're making on that high interest credit card debt, consider how a cash out refinance loan on your house, the only smart way to do it with the bagel loan with Stewart's American Mortgage, can make a ton of financial sense for you. Stewie will walk you through the process. He'll tell you what you're looking at, what your monthly payments are going to be, and how you can immediately eliminate a lot of that credit card debt that's creeping up on you. It's living in the back of your brain. And as the interest rates keep going up and up and up, it becomes even more problematic. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can call Stewie, you can text Stewie, and when you use the bagel loan for a mortgage purchase or for a refinance, you pay zero in fees that every other lender out there will charge you for. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Alexei Janulius's past is littered with scandals, fiscal mismanagement, and shady behavior. As state treasurer, he lost over $150 million of college savings funds with risky investments. And his family bank was seized after loans were made to Russian mafia members.
I'm Dan Brady, and I have a plan to improve the Secretary of State's office by cutting wait lines, increasing senior services, and reducing license plate renewal fees. We need someone we can trust as our next Secretary of State, and that's me, Dan Brady.
Paid for by friends of Dan Brady.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel, but inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with Truehold. Truehold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want, and Truehold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's Truehold.com.
We've got you covered on Election Day. Mark Reardon will be providing live coverage throughout the evening with special guests and analysis from the entire 97.1 team. Decision 2022 is sponsored by TR Hughes Homes and Air Comfort Service. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Up on the side of the road where the church bells ring and strong love grows. She grew up good, she grew up slow, like American honey.
Unknown fact here. The song was written about Ryan Wiggins.
What's it called? Something honey?
American honey.
American honey.
She grew up slow.
Mm-hmm. That's what you do.
So innocent, pure, and sweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. American honey. Yep, American honey. Growing right here in the heart of Wiggins, America.
Gross. Today's YouTube live chat poll. Do you feel that the election results will indicate that there has been a paradigm shift in how Americans vote? Have you guys heard that phrase be uttered yet?
No.
Paradigm shift?
I would like an explanation.
Not in terms of this election, no.
I have. It's starting to happen. And it has to do with not how much Republican vote comes through or how much Democrat votes come through, but it has a lot to do with who is casting those ballots for Republicans and who is casting those ballots for Democrats. Because the demographic, the dividing game that has existed for a long time right now, the woke version of claiming people's votes. I mean, President Biden himself said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I mean, it is really something for a white man to say that he is entitled to black people's votes, and should they not vote for him, their blackness would be in question. I think that at this point in time that things have gone south under so many different categories under President Biden's administration that when people hear stuff like this from Stacey Abrams, they're not buying it anymore.
We know that Black voters are often discounted. And unfortunately, this year, Black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve. And my campaign has been the only one that has very intentionally, thoughtfully, and consistently reached out. That has been misconstrued as concern when it indeed is just respect.
Listen to what she says here. Her accusation is that Black men are being targeted with misinformation. And listen to what this misinformation is telling these Black men.
Unfortunately, this year, Black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve. And my campaign has been the only.
Not misinformation about what they want, but Black men have been targeted with misinformation about why they want what they deserve. How many Black men do you know that are sitting around waiting for somebody to inform them about what they deserve, why they should get what they deserve? The whole idea that there is a category of people based on a skin color or a gender where you can slice and dice all of these demographics however you choose to suggest that you could put a swath of people together based on that skin color or gender and say, oh, these people have been targeted with misinformation. People are trying to get them to think that, you know, they don't know what they want, or if they know what they want, that they shouldn't understand that they really deserve it. Like, that is so incredibly patronizing to people who are very much so thinking for themselves. They're thinking for themselves when they're at the grocery store. They're thinking for themselves when they're at the gas pump. They're thinking for themselves when they're at their middle class, white collar or blue collar jobs, trying to set aside some money for retirement. And every time they peek at it, they go, crap, what happened now? Those people that I just explained are not one skin color. They're not one gender. They're not one age group. Those are people who are invested in their country as Americans. And Stacey Abrams is basically saying, listen, I'm out here advocating for all these people who are being so targeted with misinformation that they don't even know what's going on. They've been so confused. If that were being said about me, I'd tell you to step off, because that's so patronizing to think that, oh, there's a whole group of people, you can classify them by gender and color, that are confused right now because they're not smart enough to understand the game.
Well, that's a theme that you've talked about before, that when I look at when I look at polling, you know, I think there is some value into breaking people into demographic groups just to see trends. But it's when, like you're talking about right now, Stacey Abrams and many other people start talking to a demographic group like, this is what you are, this is what you should think. Is that where you're saying there's a possible paradigm shift happening where people are almost breaking out of those boxes now?
I think the big story of the election will be, because they always break it down afterwards, where did the Latino vote go? How did the Latino vote shift from 2020 to 2022? How did the Black vote shift from 2020 to 2022? How did the Black vote and the Latino vote and the suburban women, white vote, how did all of these different ways, like I said, they slice and dice demographics to try to predict the movement of people and who they support and why they support it? How has it changed from, 2012 when Barack Obama was on the ticket to 2016 when you had a woman running for president against a, what I would think is the epitome of the patriarchy, Donald Trump. Like, when you're painting the picture of the man and the patriarchy, Donald Trump has got to be at the top of it. Wealthy beyond any of our understanding, has women arm in arm all the time, had multiple wives, loves money, plates everything in gold. I mean, that's what the angry feminists originally were fighting against. And now we've moved into a place where feminism is saying, like, anybody can be a woman. It seems really not feministic. Right. Well, how did all these different demographics shift overtime. Listen to Mayor Keisha Lance
Listen, Jonathan, I think that Stacey is spot on with that. I listen as my kids watch NBA highlights and whatever else they watch on YouTube. I hear the misinformation being piped in. My 12-year-old, my 14-year-old son, my 20-year-old is getting it. So there is definitely a target toward African-American men, not just to give them misinformation, but to make them so discouraged that they won't show up to vote.
The idea that these people are so impressionable by advertisements is an interesting thought because, like, if we had the time, and we don't, and I don't have the inclination either, I'd like to see what kind of uplifting, forward-thinking, positive messages Stacey Abrams is putting out in her messaging. I'd like to see the same people who are funding ads in favor of Stacey Abrams against a white man. What are they saying about Herschel Walker in the same state, a black man who is running for Senate? People actually talk about Herschel Walker as if he doesn't have the IQ to be a senator in the United States Senate. He doesn't have the ability to articulate himself. There is a white man in Pennsylvania right now running against somebody of, is he Middle Eastern? Is Oz of Middle Eastern descent? Turkish descent. I mean, if he were a Democrat, that would mean something, and I would have known that statistic off the top of my head. I never really thought to care, because from my understanding, he's an American. But the candidate that's in Pennsylvania, who is a white man who's had a born with a silver spoon in his mouth, his entire existence is once again a product of the patriarchy. And he's a disaster of a candidate. I mean, if you're like, if you could ask the people in the Democratic Party under truth serum, if you could do it again, or if you could change it right now, would you take Fetterman out and put a better candidate in? Of course you would. Everybody would. I would for the Democratic Party, because if he wins, I don't want him to be in office because I don't think he can handle it. How is he supposed to handle the rigors of being a senator that affects the entire country if he can't participate in the process and advocate for the people of Pennsylvania? I mean, that's up to Pennsylvanians to decide. I think that all of these conversations that are existing that involve at the very forefront the idea of your skin color being the topic of conversation, where if you're talking about black people as a voting bloc, I just think that black people are looking around going, I think I'm dealing with the same economic crap that white people are. And I think that suggesting that I should vote for somebody because I'm black in and of itself is racist. Nobody's saying because I'm white I should be voting for someone, because for some reason Democrats have been able to pull white people into the woke culture in some sort of like, let's make victims out of any block of people, and then we'll get white people to feel guilty for it, and then we'll get their votes too. Their sympathy votes. Like, in theory, it's the least that they can do. I don't think that people are feeling like that's a really successful voting strategy for the country, because the Democrats have the White House, the Democrats have the bicameral Congress, the Democrats have all of these big blue states that have the super populous cities in them, and they are disasters. So the YouTube poll question today is, do you feel that the election results will indicate that there has been a paradigm shift in how Americans vote? Yes or no? So it can mean whatever you want it to mean, I suppose, because I always try to leave these open to your own interpretation. And if you want to explain why you voted yes or no, you can do so in the comments. Do you think you have an answer to that, Ryan?
Yeah, but my answer, it's more about the COVID era. I think that we will see a paradigm shift that started in 2020 that is continuing now, of people who have woken up to this idea that the government is not necessarily out for your good, that they don't trust it anymore, being the media narrative, the government narrative, that's going to be the paradigm shift that we see continuing in this election that started 2 years ago.
And this is really the first referendum that people can have, after the dawn, post-COVID, where you can say that happened then. Because in 2020, that election was still people were. The way we voted was very different in many cases. You didn't go places in Illinois without a mask on. It's still in that position. There were still kids who were not in school when the election was taking place. 2 years later, how do you feel about that? And if you were somebody who was a staunch Democrat and you supported Democrats and you're in the state of Illinois or you're in this in St. Louis County, you might say, this is not really working for me. And maybe I'm not a Republican, but I need to send the Democratic Party a message to say you need to shape up because this is not who we are.
And I just want to add that in 2020, people always remember that Trump lost the election and maybe a couple Senate seats didn't go the way he wanted, primarily in Georgia. Republicans also gained, I think, 27 to 29 seats in 2020. So, and those were more local elections. They almost took back the House that year while losing the presidency and barely losing the Senate. So I think what we started to see there was a paradigm shift. And I think, again, that will continue this year.
What do you think, Brad?
Well, when I look at this, I look at 2020, and to me, 2020 as an election was an anomaly. It's just, there's never been anything like it before.
Results or turnout?
Yes.
Okay.
All of it. The way people voted, why people voted the way they voted. I think that, 2020 was an anomaly. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, is this a paradigm shift? I think maybe we're seeing some of that amongst voters. But really, at the end of the day, if we look at what people are voting on right now, what seems to be the biggest concern that everybody has is the same thing that has always been the most important thing in an election. It's the economy. It's always been the economy. It will always be the economy because it really hits home whenever you can't escape what politics is doing in your life. Now, 2020 being an anomaly, that's another situation where you couldn't escape what politicians were doing in your life. But every time somebody goes to the grocery store, every time somebody goes to the gas pump, every time somebody does something like that, when they have to spend money and they have to spend more money and it makes it more difficult to make ends meet, that affects the way people vote.
I think all four of us in here, just by a show of yays or nays, would all agree that if Donald Trump were the president right now, we would be much better off. Agreed?
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you for following the rules, Ryan Wiggins.
You're welcome. I'm a rule follower.
He's got the right hat on.
Only reason he followed the rules is because you guys didn't. Which is true. Yeah, it's true. But can we also, if we all voted for him and think we would be better off with him right now, do you agree with me when I say I understand in the climate that the political climate that we have been in this country, why there was so much motivation to vote against Donald Trump?
I understand that motivation.
I understand it. I don't like it. I think it's media driven, but yes.
No, but I mean,
yes.
but purposefully.
I understand. Yes.
The idea.
The answer is still yay.
Yes. Yay. Thank you. The idea that there would be a massive swell of people of whatever shape and size that would feel motivated and very intently purposeful to show up and vote in the 2020 election, specifically to vote against Donald Trump. That was a designed, purposeful political climate meant to do that. It really, in my opinion, had very little to do with any policy whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a kind of, to me, it was the country making a lot of bad decisions after a very discombobulating pandemic, a very discombobulating media climate, social media injected in it, where everybody has the ability to weigh in from a celebrity standpoint, where the virtue signaling became the hottest accessory for anyone to have, is to make sure that you're out there and speaking on every issue all the time so that your people and your fans can know, hey, this is where we are, folks. You had to speak on that, and social media allows everyone to do that. Very few people care anymore what type of politics, if you're speaking politics and you're a celebrity right now, everybody pretty much knows where they are. And everybody pretty much knows where those individuals are. And people are pretty tired of it. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about an A-list top actor who has spoken out and endorsed the conservative candidate in a race in a very blue area. Might not surprise you who this actor is if you haven't heard this story yet, but I think it's important to hear the message. And I think that this message and this actor speaking it is why I'm a huge yes vote. on the idea that there is a massive paradigm shift headed our way that will be identified tomorrow in quantifiable data. And then the question is, what do we do with it afterwards? How do we preserve it? I'll tell you who that actor is and what he said about a major, major blue area and how it might change after tomorrow's election. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
Opponents of this law don't want any change and are preying upon fear to lie and fearmonger in defense of the status quo.
Fearmongers and liars. That's what J.B. Pritzker called the opponents of his purge law. Among the opponents are 100 of Illinois' 102 county state's attorneys. Pritzker has claimed
There's no such thing under the Safety Act as non-detainable offenses.
adding,
No one is getting out of jail. If prosecutors do that, that's on them.
Well, obviously, that is not the truth.
said fellow Democrat and Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow.
For the vast majority of people committing forcible felonies, they can't be detained.
Here's what will happen in Will County to the 500 prison inmates with pending cases, according to Glasgow.
Half of them would walk out on day one, and that's not on the prosecutors, that's on the statute. The most lenient criminal law in the country.
When it comes to your personal safety, who do you believe? Punish Pritzker. Purge him from Illinois politics. Paid for by people who play by the rules PAC.
Anyway, why you shouldn't be laughing right now. This is not funny. Get it together, Ryan.
It's my fault.
What'd you
It's
do that
always my
for?
fault. You can blame me.
The shenanigans that take place
Back
off
on
the air,
track.
what Ryan is doing
You got
in this room.
You got this.
It's unbelievable.
It's all you. This is yours.
Dr. Hardiman is not going to be happy with me.
He likes me.
It's because you went and saw him.
Yeah, it's great. It's exactly
Can
right.
I ask you in this
Please go ahead.
We don't need to talk about the first ENTs you went to, but we'll talk about the fact that you went to some ENTs. And I'm just sitting in the studio telling everybody about Gateway ENT.
Yes.
And the fact that if you have an ear, nose, or throat problem, that you should go to the best ENTs in town. And I had to say that this is so typical. I had to say this like how many times before you're like, maybe I'll go see Dr. Hardiman.
Yes, I know. This works out really well because I would tell you this off air.
Mm-hmm.
Just go to him first. I mean, you were telling me that anyway, but I really do regret not going to him first because he fixed the problem like that.
You had an air pressure issue from travel in your ear.
When I came off of a flight, the pressure would not pop. It wouldn't go away. And I mean, for weeks. So I went and saw multiple doctors. Finally, I went to see him. He's like, here's what it is.
And he helped you?
Right away.
Okay, so that's probably the best endorsement that I can do with Gateway ENT. Brad's wife went and saw him for an issue as well. If you have an ear, nose, and throat issue, it's not just Dr. Scott Hardiman. We had Dr. Weston with us last week, and they have a whole host of doctors there that you can get into fast if you have an ENT problem. Of course, we've been talking with Dr. Hardiman for a long time, but listen, all of the doctors there are top-notch. They are the ones that you are going to be able to rely on to get it right the first time. Please consider going to Gateway ENT, one of the oldest private practice ear, nose, and throat groups in the St. Louis area, located in West County, Sunset Hills, and Festus. And every single one of the doctors, they're top-notch. Like I said, they see people of all ages. You will be very happy that you chose to go to them. And don't make the Wiggins mistake. Go see them first. Is that fair?
The Wiggins mistake.
Can I get TM?
just all rights reserved. Go for it.
314-843-3828, gatewaydrs.com.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Wonder Lights Christmas in St. Louis is brighter than ever at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The holliest, jolliest Christmas light show in the area is celebrating the season from November 11th until January 1st. Tickets now available at wonderlightschristmas.com. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Illinois South Tourism.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling and Insulation Studio. Make sure your furnace is ready to safely heat your home this fall. For heating service, repairs, or a new HVAC system, visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Former Senator John Lamping. We had what was thought to be a super competitive Republican Party primary. There was no debate, but voters deserve a heck of a lot more than this.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
We're no strangers to love. You know
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show.
The inner grimace.
When we come back, the next time we're back in here, it's election day.
I got to tell you, obviously we've been looking forward to this so much. It's what we do. We're talking about it all the time.
I have a countdown on my phone, and I've had a countdown for the midterms on my phone since it was well over 100 days.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, you've been saying it for a long, long time.
Merry Christmas.
Your YouTube poll got me more excited about the midterms tomorrow than I think I've been in weeks. Because I'm looking at this midterm so embroiled in data and looking at the specifics of different races and how they're moving and all that stuff. This is such a broad question that it makes me excited that we could be seeing something in America, in the electorate, that could be indicative of something beyond just the midterms. That could be something that's a sea change happening.
It is important to remember that Election Day is a start. It's not an end. For us, it feels very much like an end because we are like sloughing through this, trying to get to the end of the election day where it's like, okay, fine, now we know. That's when it starts.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's when, gosh, if we appreciate every single minute that you choose to spend with us. I cannot say more sincerely. And was Rock and Brews the night before? Was that Thursday?
That was Thursday night.
Was that last week?
Was
that 2022?
That was 5 days ago, 4 days ago.
I've lived a lifetime. I will drop here real quick, but I'm not going to go too far into this. But the boys volleyball team that my husband coached and that I help and that my son plays on got third place in the state volleyball tournament, the Lutheran State Volleyball Tournament.
Third.
Let's go Braves. It was very exciting. The girls team also made it to state, which is a really huge accomplishment. And so super proud of the boys team and the girls team. Volleyball has taken up a ton of my mental time, but mostly my physical time. As Brad knows, Brad came out to some of the games and got to see the kids play from time to time. But between that and the election, it's just like maximum capacity for me, time, energy, and everything. It's so exciting to look and see that it looks like the country is going to course correct. And that's the whole point of democracy. That's the whole idea. That, okay, you want to get a little out in front of your skis. You hate Donald Trump so much that a whole bunch of people come out and they're only voting on that. Maybe there are a lot of people who are, staunch Democrats. They have strong thoughts and beliefs that are opposite of mine, and they vote for that. But there are so many people who voted against Donald Trump in that last election. Mm-hmm. And Donald Trump got 10 million more votes than he did the the
it was the most
top
votes
four
ever.
Yes. So he still grew his support, but there was just so much passion of people coming out to participate. Well, Chris Pratt has endorsed billionaire Rick Caruso for LA mayor after seeing the city's decline into utter disarray. And I want to read to you this post that he put on his Instagram. His Instagram account is Pratt, which is kind of funny. I've lived in LA for over 20 years. It's been great to me. In that time, I've seen what many residents here have seen, the city's gradual decline into pain and utter disarray. If you live here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't normally support political candidates, but in this election, there's too much to lose. If you're an LA voter, I urge you to vote for Rick Caruso. He's a builder. He knows how to get stuff done. He's the guy for our city. Rick Caruso for LA mayor. That is a pretty simple statement that is in no way, shape, or form charged with a lot of the rhetoric that usually comes from celebrities endorsing candidates. Usually there's a lot of assertions. That is straight-laced facts. The city is in decline. The state of Illinois has declined. The county, St. Louis County has declined. The city of St. Louis, like these are things that it doesn't matter what your political party, but everybody knows that. More truths like that being spoken. And if Chris Pratt says that, that makes a difference. And there's so few people who are speaking out on these things from a conservative side. Like we said in your Wiggins America before, like when you're talking about being pro-abortion, you have to, there's like a certain amount that you're allowed to talk about it. It's not like the whole thing, the whole emotional pouring out of how you feel about being pro-life. I think it's big. It's a big deal that Chris Pratt was willing to do this. I do think other people will follow. If Donald Trump announces in the middle of November, maybe we just snap back right away. Let's get to the results of the YouTube live chat poll before we run out of here.
All right. The poll is asking, will the election results indicate that there has been a paradigm shift in how Americans vote? With over 200 votes, 70% of the people said yes, that will indicate that there has been a paradigm shift in how Americans vote. 29% of the people have said no, it will not.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. And it all happens tomorrow, folks. We know tomorrow. And then, like I said, the real work starts then. If you have not yet subscribed to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, would you please go do that? We are working on putting something exciting together for you guys, fun, and it is really all about spending the evening with you. It is a watch party. It is something we do to hang out with you. Subscribe to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. There's a notification bell that you can hit. We'll alert you when we go live. Stick around. Mark Reardon is going to take us into the evening before Election Day. Don't go away.
Paid for by Blaine for Congress.
I'm Blaine Lutkemar, and I approve this message.
We've seen some price increases.